What's going on, y'all? Hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're having a good week. As always, give me a thumbs up on YouTube if you could hear. Give me a thumbs up on Facebook if you could hear. I want to talk about two things today, and then we're going to take off. We could do a question and answer for a little as well. But the first thing I want to talk about actually is Joe Biden. I just have a funny clip. So we'll start off on a funny note. I mean, the guy's unfortunately just a little bit losing it. I think he was supposed to be the front runner of the Democratic primary, but man, the guy's just not all the way there. And then the second thing I want to talk about is Fiona Hill did a testimony today. I know it's been all week. You had, was it Sunland and all these other people testify against Trump of hearsay. They think and presume and assume. And, somebody told them that Trump said something that someone said that something said. But Fiona Hill did something that I really want to highlight since I've been highlighting it for a few months. And if people don't understand it yet, maybe this will be more of a better example to show you how the right wing, not just the left wing, is setting you up for failure when it comes to free speech. And they're kind of building a narrative that's going to screw you in the long run and already has. So let's chat about that. Who we got? Brian Worth. We got Shane Mahoney. We got Janelle. Let's start on a funny note. We'll just listen to Joe Biden as everyone comes in. This was him yesterday talking about domestic abuse. He thought in order to stop, violence against women, we need to be punching it and punching it and punching it. I'm not kidding. Listen to this dude. Joe Biden, man.
Has a right to raise a hand to a woman in anger other than in self-defense, and that's rarely ever occurs. And so we have to just change the culture, period, and keep punching at it and punching at it and punching at it. It will be a big, no, I really mean it. It's a gigantic issue. And we have,
and he doesn't know why people are laughing. He's like, I'm not joking. I mean, in order to stop violence against women, we got to be punching at it and punching at it and punching. And he's like looking around like, why are people laughing at me? It's like, bro, it's a sad sight. They thought he was like the safe middle ground candidate, but I could show you other clips too. I think he was telling Cory Booker and Kamala Harris he's part of the black community, and he's like, there's another clip of him talking about he's like, I worked with the only black senator, and then Kamala Harris is like, I'm a black senator. He's like, I didn't say only black senator. I said the first black senator. And she's like, this whole debate is recorded, bro. Like, we could rewind and see that you didn't say that 5 seconds ago. We'll listen one more time real quick, and then we'll do some shout outs and we'll start it out. So what should we do about the pressing issue of violence against women?
no, I really mean it. And punching at it and punching at it and punching at it. Culture, period. And keep punching at it and punching at it and punching at it.
Man, I apologize to any donor who gave Joe Biden money. Honestly, me and my friend were talking about it last night. We were like, what bigger waste of money than giving money to somebody for president? I mean, how much money is going to be wasted on Pete Buttigieg and Cory Booker? Anybody, honestly, that gave money to Eric Swalwell deserves a mental institution and probably deportation. And I'm not even trying to be mean, but if you donated to Eric Swalwell thinking you were going to get your money's worth, I mean, what's wrong with these people? Who we got? We got Bug One, Char Council. We got Isaac Teague in the house. We got Daniel from Massachusetts. We got Keith Coyle. Could you imagine donating to Pete Buttigieg? Although I do like his dance. There's a high hopes for a living. Have you guys seen that? They have a whole little like viral high hopes like Pete Buttigieg challenge. It's the best thing that's ever going to happen because he's not going to win president. Well, here, listen, guys. We're just gonna listen. We're just gonna keep
punching at it and punching at it and punching at it.
And one day we'll solve it. Dear Lord. All right, let's start it up. So now that we got Biden out of the way, this is something I want to play real quick. I'm gonna play a clip from Fiona Hill's testimony, and I really want to harp on this point, not because I'm trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be hateful. I'm not trying to be negative. I just feel like out of all the conservatives that really have big audiences, I'm one of the only one who talks about this stuff, and it's really important. And that's why I keep talking about it. And I talk about it so much that I'm now being labeled. I guess there's this whole like chart going around where they're calling me trad right or alt right, or I don't even know what they're calling me, even though I'm neither. And Gavin McInnes brought it up. Actually, we could probably play that clip if you guys want to hear it. Gavin McInnes started talking about my hair, and I made a joke back because he started like making fun of me. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I thought it was kind of funny, but I responded, and then everyone thinks I'm mean. We'll play that real quick because I've never met Gavin McInnes or anything. But here,
Steve Franzen. I don't know Steve Franzen, but he seems like a very Christian dude. I hope he has a wife and a kid. I have no fucking clue who this guy is.
He's talking about me.
But I don't like when guys wear suits with long hair.
I think that's my cousin.
That's as bad as having a suit with a backpack.
Nice tie, though.
Cut your hair, dude. Men should never have long hair. It's so distracting. All right. So
why the fuck would I take fashion advice from somebody with a handlebar mustache? All right. So then I thought it was funny. I made a whole roast video about Gavin McInnes. I told him he looked like a cheap magician. I said he had a handlebar mustache. He looked like a barista. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a funny roast battle, but everybody's coming to me. Anomaly, Gavin was just joking. He told you to cut your hair. I was like, that's fine. He joked. I joked back. I thought it was fine, but people freaked out. I'm not that upset about it. I thought it was pretty funny, and I thought my roast response was hilarious. I stood up for Gavin for free speech and whatnot. I don't even know him, and then he makes a little thing saying he doesn't know who I am and I should cut my hair. So I responded, and I said he kind of looks like a cheap version of Joseph Stalin, who never made it in life, ended up in Silver Lake, California, and started smoking salvia for 10 years. He's got jokes. I got jokes. Let the best jokes win. So on that note, I'm being smeared by like a bunch of people now because I keep pointing something out that the right wing's very weak on. Obviously, I love President Trump. I made a song about it. Everybody could tell that I've stood up for him. I supported him. I've launched big conservative movements. I've said my truth, the truth, and I've never wavered. However, I see the right wing is very weak when it comes to free speech in regards to anything that goes near Jewish or Israeli. And I warned people for a year. I'm like, guys, you got to stop calling everything anti-Semitic. And now it's being used against the right wing in Congress, and it's already on law. Listen. This is Fiona Hill explaining why you're not allowed to critique any of the people in the hearing or George Soros. This is right from Fiona Hill's mouth.
And you said specifically, when I saw this happening to Ambassador Yovanovitch, again, I was furious because this is, again, just this whipping up of what is frankly an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory about George Soros to basically target nonpartisan career officials. Isn't that what you said?
I did say that, yes.
And I'm sure you've been watching with concern what's happened to other nonpartisan career officials. We had Lieutenant Colonel Alex Vindman, an American immigrant, questioned for his criticism of the president in a very unfair way, basically questioning his loyalty to the country. I believe that he's also of Ukrainian Jewish descent. Would you say that these different theories, these conspiracy theories that have been targeting you, spun in part by folks like Mr. Stone, as well as
Rudy Giuliani,
fueled by Rudy Giuliani,
the big anti-Semites, right, guys? Let's see.
Basically, have a tinge of anti-Semitism to them, at least.
Well, certainly when they involve George Soros, they do. I'd just like to point out that in the early 1900s, the Tsarist secret police produced something called the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which actually you can still obtain on the internet, and you can buy it actually sometimes in bookshops in Russia and elsewhere. This is the longest running anti-Semitic trope that we have in history. And the trope against Mr. Soros, George Soros, was also created for political purposes.
Oh, yeah. There's no reason to critique George Soros besides you must be an anti-Semite who reads the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. I mean, who else would critique, Vindman or Soros? Or a pattern I've noticed that almost every person testifying against Trump, Adam Schiff included, they all happen to be Jewish. I mean, I think like 4 out of 6 people testifying have been Jewish so far, which is fine. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not every Jewish person in the world's fault. I don't think anybody's suggesting that. But she's suggesting, and a lot of people are suggesting, that if you critique Adam Schiff or you critique Vindman or you critique Yovanovitch or you critique any of these people, you're anti-Semitic and you must be reading the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. That's their logic. And Giuliani is anti-Semitic, according to her, even though I'm sure he's a staunch supporter of Israel, and I'm sure he loves Jews and supports Jewish people in America. But these are the games that they play. And also, I want to remind you, this is not just the left wing who plays these games. And I've been saying it for a while. It's not just the liberals. I know a lot of people are like, Anomaly, are you drunk? The right wing has already sold out your free speech when it comes to the word anti-Semitism. And until people understand this, people are going to start dropping like flies, including your favorite conservatives who love Jews, who love Israel. Some of them might actually happen to be Jewish. There's a very nice woman on Twitter. Her name is Ashley Ray Goldenberg. She's Jewish, and they're smearing her as a Nazi now. It's not the left wing smearing her as a Nazi. It's right wingers who, for some reason, think she's a Nazi because she dated somebody who is, suspect or whatever, and she's Jewish. Point I'm getting to is the right wing has already sold out the First Amendment already. It's not even like maybe they'll sell out free speech. Anomaly, you're drunk. They already did it, and I tried to tell you that already. Ron DeSantis signed a bill in Florida, in Israel, actually, the first Florida bill ever signed on foreign soil. That's fine. I get it. We're great friends with Israel, so you can go sign a bill there. But the bill didn't make any sense, and the word anti-Semitism doesn't make any sense. You think it means hating all Jews, but that's not what the word means. If I was ever to use it, I don't really use it, but if I was to use it, I would only say it to people that I knew hated every Jewish person in the world. That's the only reason I'd ever use it. But if you look at the definition of what anti-Semitism means, it means literally everything. So now they're using it in court and saying, they're anti-Semitic for criticizing George Soros. And it's hard to feel bad for the right wing when they start dropping like flies, because they've used that terminology. It also suggests if someone has dual loyalty, they say that's anti-Semitic. And it's actually in legislation form, not by liberals. Right wingers always complain hate speech is not free speech, is hate speech, blah, blah, blah. We're not snowflakes. We don't need a safe space. But if you mention anything Jewish, anything Israel, you will see right wing, conservatives turn into liberal snowflakes and start giving away your free speech because they can't take any sort of Jewish or Israel talk. They say, oh my God, that's anti-Semitic. Oh my God, pass a bill. Oh my goodness, we need protection. Oh my goodness, that person needs to be kicked off Twitter. Oh my God, that person's a Nazi. This is not the left wing doing this. It's the right wing. They're selling out your free speech via anti-Semitism. And people need to realize this. It's not going to end up in your favor. It's really bad. They're already kicking people off of social media for literally nothing. And certain people have dual loyalty. Someone said, "Ooh, there were, in World War II, the Nazis used to say people had dual loyalty." If the Nazis drank water, are you not going to drink water now? It's like, I'm not saying you're supposed to love them. You should understand history and condemn horrible people. But I mean, I don't know who called who dual loyalty, but there's people in this country that have dual loyalty. Like Ben Shapiro says it's anti-Semitism to suggest you have dual loyalty. Ben Shapiro absolutely has dual loyalty. PragerU has dual loyalty. 1 out of every 8 videos they make is about Israel. That's fine. I'm not. I have friends from Italy that love Italy, and they say they're dual loyal. It's just for some reason, Jewish people tend to not want to say that they do or something. I don't know what the big deal is, but if you critique George Soros, who obviously has an agenda, he doesn't have just the United States agenda. He's all over the place. I mean, George Soros is a worldwide conglomerate who has multiple interests. Now it's anti-Semitism if you try to call out George Soros. And here's why I keep saying this. If it was just the left wing doing what the left wing does, I wouldn't care. I'm like, dude, they lie about everything. Everything's sexist. Everything's racist. Everything's Islamophobic. But when you have two parties and you have Charlie Kirks and Ben Shapiro's and PragerU's who have all these people together and say, we're fighting for free speech, but they're not actually fighting for free speech, this is why you lose. This is why the schools are getting more indoctrinated. This is why, Chick-fil-A is caving, even though maybe they just wanted to switch donors. This is why people get deplatformed. This is why the right wing loses the culture war. This is everything. It's because you're not fighting against the left. You're fighting with, I'm not going to call them controlled opposition, but very weak conservatives who are only conservative in free speech in essence. They're only conservative in free speech if it goes in their agenda. But the second you say anything about anyone Jewish, they'll call you anti-Semitic, even if you're more Jewish than them. They don't care. They've already lied about the word. And it's in legislation form that you can't suggest that people have dual loyalty when people do have dual loyalty. You can't suggest that you can't talk about Israel more than you talk about other countries. Then the government will come in and legislate what you can and can't do. The ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, who's the number one of the biggest people who's shutting down free speech on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, they're the ones doing it. I'm not suggesting they're doing it. It's not anti-Semitic that they're doing it. It's literally a fact. They're bragging in conferences saying, we go to Google and we tell them that there's too much anti-Semitism and we rig the algorithms. And they listen to us. They rig the This is not my opinion. I tell right-wingers, they're like, the ADL is horrible, the ADL is terrible. I'm like, did you know the Anti-Defamation League is an international Jewish organization, not a domestic Jewish organization, an American one. They're an international Jewish organization who is rigging our YouTube algorithms, who's socially engineering people, who's smearing people, destroying free speech for Jewish people in Israel. That's their agenda. It's on their Wikipedia. It's not a liberal organization. It's a Jewish organization. They're the ones that are doing a lot of the censorship, and they admit to doing that. It's not my opinion. I say that, and conservatives like, oh, I didn't know that. Well, of course you don't know that because they don't tell you. And the reason this is important is you have to understand why. Someone said Soros is anti-Jew. Now you're starting to get it. This is not for Jewish people. I'm not a hater. This is never going to work in your favor. Soros, I mean, you could look what he did during World War II. You could certainly say it wasn't pro-Jewish, but that's, to be determined. I don't want to get sued by him. He was always suing everybody, calling him anti-Semitic. But this isn't, right-wingers are so brainwashed that they sell out their own free speech and get Jewish people screwed. It doesn't help Jewish Americans that right-wingers are selling out free speech. They have this weird like brain fart where they're like, oh, the Israel's the guy. We have to do it for them. I mean, free speech is not, I mean, it's hate speech. Dan Crenshaw said that the First Amendment's just a cloak for anti-Semitism. Someone was like, Dan, like, he basically was like, are you pro-free speech or are you a snowflake for Israel? And Dan, he's like, well, the problem is people are using the First Amendment as a cloak for anti-Semitism. That sounds like a liberal left-wing snowflake who sells out your free speech. And on Facebook, I've already lost 700 followers. Anytime I talk about this stuff, people don't want to hear it. But listen, you're a year away from hearing that the Bible is anti-Semitic. And there's already people that say that the Bible is anti-Semitic. I've already seen it. So if you want your free speech sold out, if you want to build up a narrative, if you want to boost the censors, if you want to side with the oppressors and the censors, keep calling everything anti-Semitic. Call Ilhan Omar anti-Semitic. Call everybody anti-Semitic. Call anything anti-Semitic. Keep doing it. Dig your own grave. I really don't care at this point. But if you want to not be the oppressor and not be the censor, stop using the word that they're using to rig stuff against conservatives. They're not doing it for Jewish people. They're doing it for their agenda of what they think that Jewish people want. And it's not good for Jewish people at all. But I'm trying to say, when this happens in court and she says that anybody who talks about George Soros or Vindman or any of these people are anti-Semitic, and people are like, well, I'm not anti-Semitic. Yeah, no crap. But neither was anything that you said was anti-Semitic. Ben Shapiro's been lying. Charlie Kirk's been lying. Dan Crenshaw's been lying. Even the Trump family has kind of been lying. They said it was anti-Semitic to say that, what is it? I got to see if this video's on here. They said it's anti-Semitic to suggest that AIPAC controls our Congress. They said that's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Now you're diving into anti-Semitism. It's a fact. It's on their Twitter. They're bragging about lobbying both sides of Congress. I wish you could see this video. Let me see if it has. No, it's only music. It says here, I'm gonna read it since we can't. This is not me. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is AIPAC's Twitter. And just remember, Trump, and I love Trump, but Trump, all these conservatives, they said it was anti-Semitic to say this. So you're setting yourself up for failure. It says, for 60 years, we've advanced the U.S.-Israel relationship by lobbying every American leader, everyone, no matter the political party, every vice president, every president, every Senate Democratic leader, every Senate Republican leader, whether it's McCarthy to Chuck Schumer to Nancy Pelosi to Tim Ryan to Hillary Clinton to Kerry, the Secretary of State, the Vice President, all of them. They've all been lobbied by AIPAC. They all are, AIPAC loyal, which is fine. I'm not going to cry about it. It is what it is. But I'm saying there's nothing anti-Semitic about saying that it's all about the Benjamins, baby. And I told people this a year ago, I hate Ilhan Omar. She's a terrorist. I don't like Ilhan Omar. I can't stand her. I think she's obnoxious, annoying. But when she says it's all about the Benjamins, right-wingers say it's anti-Semitism, and then 5 months later, they're getting called anti-Semitic. Stop using that word. That word is designed to screw you. Christians are the most persecuted religion on the planet. There's no word for you because the system is designed to destroy you. So if you wonder why, you want to not believe, well, I don't want to listen to Nami, I'll listen to Ben Shapiro. Ask Ben Shapiro what he thinks about Jesus Christ, and that's fine. He's not a big fan of him, but go to Europe. Why do you think it's Muslims, not Christians, who stop the crazy indoctrination pedo school agenda where they're like sexualizing 10-year-olds? Because Christians have no backbone. They've been totally sold out and lied to for so long. They're like, oh, I don't want to do anything about it. I'll just listen to Ben Shapiro. and then their kids are getting sexualized at like the age of 10, and then Muslims come in and they're like, cut this shit, we don't want to deal with this anymore. It's because they actually have a backbone and a spine, and they say, we're not indoctrinating our kids. Why do Christians not do it? Because they follow leaders like Ben Shapiro. They're going, no, I don't want to hear this. No, everything's anti-Semitic. I'll give away free speech. I'll give away endless wars. We'll do everything. We'll dig our own graves. You know, I'll even call the Bible anti-Semitic if I have to, if it's for Israel. You're selling out your own country and your own freedom. And they're never going to stop. George Soros, the Rothschilds, there's a lot of powerful people that happen to be Jewish. It's not all Jewish people's fault. I would never suggest that it is. However, if you look at these people testifying against Trump, 60 to 90% of them are Jewish. If you look at, the media, it's a majority Jewish owned. If you look at all the banking, it's a lot of Jewish people. If you look at NFL owners, it's like 33%. You could do the math yourself. They'll call you anti-Semitic for doing it. The point I'm saying is, if you want to be able to speak truth to power, whether they be Christian or Jewish or the Pope or, any religion, stop using the word anti-Semitism and stop listening to these fraudulent liars who sell out your free speech in legislation form via their own, agenda. Because you're not, now when you try to critique George Soros or the Rothschilds, this has been happening for a year now, you get banned from the White House. Now you can't draw a cartoon. This is the United States of America. Conservatives have complained for 2 years about Muslims blocking cartoons, which is a valid complaint if this was a majority Muslim country. But Muslim influence in America at this point is not that far, so it's not them blocking the cartoons. And I'm not even blaming Jewish people for doing it. It's Christian conservative Zionists who prioritize Israel over free speech. I don't care if you're a Zionist. If you love Israel, if you support Israel, I don't care. That's awesome. I have people watching from Israel right now. But if you prioritize your allegiance to Israel over the free speech of our country, which is what they all do, then you're not America first. And that's why a lot of people are calling them out. You don't have to like this little dissident right movement. Some of them are angry. Some of them are hateful. Some of them are mean. So I'm not asking you to like that, but now I'm being labeled all these names because I actually care about free speech. And now I see it happening. Rudy Giuliani's anti-Semitic. Donald Trump's anti-Semitic. You can't talk about Soros. You can't talk about Vindman. You can't talk about Yanovich. You can't talk about, Adam Schiff. Soon you can't talk about, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because she claims that she's like half Sephardic Jew, whether it's true or not. So do you want to be able to have free speech? Do you want to be able to critique human beings in this country that you disagree with? Or do you want to call out power? Do you want to be able to actually do anything? Or do you want to, cuck yourself into submission, listening to Ben Shapiro, PragerU, and TPUSA, who have such blind allegiance to Israel that the only way they can get you to believe that they don't is by censoring everybody who tells you the truth and, not giving a platform to them, blacklisting them, banning them, passing legislation, and constantly shifting your attention away from it. Look at Ilhan Omar. She's anti-Semitic. Look at Farrakhan. He's anti-Semitic. Look at the anti-Semites. They're censoring you. It's literally like if you were a left-winger. I don't hate women, but if I called everything sexist, oh my God, sexist. If you have an opinion about women, that's sexist. Oh, you want women that live a traditional life? That's sexist. And then I'm behind closed doors, I'm passing sexist legislation. I'm saying now it's illegal in Florida schools to do this. It's illegal here to do this. It's this. That's not free speech. That's not conservative. Take any religion. I wouldn't do it for Christians. I wouldn't do it for Catholics. So why the F would I do it for a foreign country and Jewish people? It's not fair. It's not true. And I just see it backfiring terribly on conservatives. And I'm not going to stop talking about it, even if people don't like it, until people wake up to this reality. I'm not asking you, but it's really frustrating to see conservatives turn their back on free speech. Liberals don't care about it anymore. Literally, no one cares about it. No media cares about it. No Democrat politician, besides maybe 4 of them, care about free speech. So we need a party that stands up for free speech. If the party standing up for free speech doesn't stand up for free speech, we're screwed. That's why I've been more upset than normal recently, because before I'm like, we're winning the battle. We're winning. Trump's doing great. But in reality, once you saw the campus conservatives get challenged, and I saw what they said, and I saw what they did, and then I started researching what they've been doing, they're not doing anything. They're like controlled opposition who's selling out your free speech so slowly under the term of anti-Semitism. How do you trick a left-winger into giving up their freedom? Use women, use children, use climate change, and use Muslims, use Mexicans. That's how you convince liberals. You just do that. They'll give up the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. What freedom won't liberals give up now? Oh, Trump's a racist. You don't want free speech? Oh yeah, for sure. Trump's a racist. You don't want guns? Oh yeah, for sure. Trump's a racist. Men are bad, women are great. So let's give up the right to a fair trial. Liberals are like, yeah, sure, let's give up all the freedom. How do you trick a conservative? You use Jews in Israel, and conservatives literally turn into idiots. They say, oh, no, we don't need free speech. No, that is anti-Semitic. I can't defend my morals about this group of people with like literal facts and stats. So I'm just going to smear them with this huge label and try to deplatform them. I'm going to label them this. And that's where a lot of the censorship is coming from. Who do you think owns Facebook? Everyone complains about who owns Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg. Who's the big COO or whatever? Sheryl Sandberg. Guess what, religion or ethnicity they are. I don't know if they're atheist Jews or Orthodox Jews. They're Jewish. Who's the lady who runs YouTube? I forget her name, but she's Jewish. Who do you think owns CNN? Who do you think owns MSNBC? And right-wingers say that's not anti-Semitism. That's a fact. Who do you think Adam Schiff is? Who do you think George Soros is? It's not everybody, but it's a huge majority of the people you guys don't like. So if you want to be able to call them out, not by their religion or their race, but by the morals, you're going to get called anti-Semitic. Obviously, you guys are not anti-Semitic. You love Jews. You love Israel, half of you, more than half of you. But you want to call out George Soros. Well, you can't anymore because you guys sold it out a year ago. You sold it out for Ilhan Omar, so now you don't get it anymore. That's how it works. Noam Chomsky knew this 20 years ago. He said, if you don't defend free speech for everyone, including people you don't like, then you don't get it. Then you don't believe in free speech. Right-wingers are selling out your free speech. And I don't know why people don't care. It's not just they don't agree with it. They can't formulate an argument. They've called everything anti-Semitic. They've passed. I'm starting to not care anymore. I mean, obviously I care, but it's like, why feed into a beast that doesn't even care about you? If you get too close to the truth, they call you a name and try to deplatform you and censor you and take away, your credibility. So what's the point? If you're just going to go to Ben Shapiro rallies and Turning Point USA rallies, you're selling yourself out. And you could like them, but they need to be held accountable. And they were held accountable recently, and look how they responded. Now I'm getting labeled far right, alt-right, all these terrible names. Why? Because I'm telling the truth, and I know a lot more than they know. And the closer I get to the truth and the more I tell you, the more they're going to try to kick me off of Facebook, because this is how the system works. That, everybody in this country needs to take accountability. If you're a Christian, there's no playing the victim. You have to take accountability for what you're doing. And for some reason, even right-wing people, Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro, they're all anti-snowflake until you get. Someone called in, sorry. They're all anti-snowflake until you get close to anything Jewish, and even Dave Rubin says that's anti-Semitic. That's not. Why don't you take a self-accountability for something? It's not your fault, but if I'm Jewish and I realize that literally Jewish people run, a lot of things, and then I just say it's all anti-Semitic, who are you? Are you really standing up for free speech? I am, I could tell you my ethnicity and my religion. I'm not going to defend, how dare you call out the Catholic Church? There's nothing wrong there. The Pope, that's anti. I'm not going to do that because I'm not a fraud. They're all. Someone said I'm going to read some comments now, but someone said a lot of these people aren't really. I don't care if they're really Jewish or not. I don't care. What I'm saying is either you want to be able to say the truth or you don't. So if you keep following people that tell you that it's cool to sell out free speech, it's cool to call everything. They think Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, Charlie Kirk, and PragerU, they all think it's anti-Semitism to suggest somebody has dual loyalty. It's not anti-Semitic to suggest someone has dual loyalty. There's non-Jewish people in this country who have loyalty to other countries and who work with China and who work with, other countries. You're allowed to speculate. But now that the Trump administration and their friends are properly assessing these people who are trying to coup him, they play the anti-Semitic card. Oh no, you can't say I'm dual loyal. You can't say Ben Shapiro's dual loyal. He thinks it's a fact. It's not anti-Semitism. So now you're saying a fact is anti-Semitism? Well, good luck winning the battle of truth. Because if you take the side of the lie, you're not on the truth anymore. Someone says that label, they label everything to make things untouchable. Absolutely. And I'm telling you, one of the number one things that destroys people in this country is anti-Semitism, because Jewish people and Jewish organizations have incredible power and influence. I mean, for 2% of the population, it's hard to find them not involved in something, which is awesome. But it's like when Candace Owens or another conservative talks about the crime rate and they say, black people in America are this percentage, but they're involved with this percentage of murder. Everyone cheers them. Oh, you're so brave. You're calling out statistics, even though they'll call you a racist for it. But if you say, well, the Jewish population of America is like 2%, but if you look in media, it's like, I don't know. Let's not do math. Let's not figure out who's directing these really sick movies. Let's not figure out who's trying to coup President Trump. Let's not do any math now, because if I do that math, you have the same free speech conservatives who, if I called out Islam or Ilhan Omar or the black crime rate, they'd be applauding me. But if I go near anything Jewish thing with my heart and intentions pure, I will get smeared by not just the left wing, I will get smeared by the right wing. And now you'll start to realize why nothing ever gets done on the right wing, because the right wing is not really conservative. And I'm not here telling you to follow these other kids where, like, I understand some of them are mean and hateful and some people don't like them. They're like, no, you got to disavow them. I'm not here to disavow. This isn't high school, okay? I disavow all people that are bad in the world. Boom, the world peace just happened. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm here to talk ideas. I'm here to tell you what I think. I'm not here to disavow every bad person. There's a lot of people I don't like and agree with, but either you want free speech or not, and you think this isn't a big deal. But the truth is, what I'm saying, this is everything. If you're just going to follow what they're saying, you're not doing anything. There's a reason that Chick-fil-A caves. There's a reason that, the indoctrination of the schools keeps going up. There's a reason you're getting crushed in culture. There's a reason that everything Christian that was once in this country is no longer, because the Christians in this country have sold out Christ. Literally, they've sold out Christianity. They've sold out Christian values. If you stand up for Christian values, they call you an anti-Semite or alt-right. So who are you following? You're following people who are, one way or another, just basically controlled opposition to make you feel like you're doing something. Half of them who don't even like President Trump, half of them who tried to blacklist him before the election. Ben Shapiro put out an alt-right blacklist trying to suggest President Trump was alt-right, because you know what they think is alt-right? You know what Ben Shapiro thinks is alt-right? And the ADL, you know what they hate the most? They hate freedom. They hate the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. I don't know their specific stance, Ben's, but if you look at the ADL website, everything that they think is anti-Semitic happens to be conservative or Christian or, freedom. Like, that's what bothers them. So Shapiro's like, oh, yeah, but really he's like, Trump's all right. Ron Paul's all. Why do you think he thinks Trump is all right and Ron Paul is all right? This is not my theory. He wrote a blacklist a couple years ago that was like, oh, you want to know who I think is all right? It's literally a blacklist. You think Ben Shapiro, with his, he brags about how smart he is. You think he doesn't know who's censoring people? You think he doesn't know who the ADL is? He brags about it all the time. I'm the most hated person by the ADL. They put me on my list. He put a list that was basically meant to censor people. This is who's alt-right. This is who are the racists. Donald Trump was on it. Ron Paul was on it. Ben Shapiro. These people are such snakes. Someone said you didn't vote for Trump. I'm not saying I voted for Trump. But I also didn't call Trump alt-right and try to get him blacklisted off of the internet. I'm not acting like I'm the biggest Trump fanatic. I'm just saying these people don't even like him. So you got a lot of people who support him. They don't even like him now. Like, I didn't like him 2 years ago. I've liked him for 2 years. They don't like him a month ago. They disagree with everything he does in foreign policy. Ben's mad because Trump ended the regime change in Syria. And look who's bombing Syria now. It's Israel. I'll give you a hint. Before it's illegal to say, that's probably a big reason why we were there in the first place, for them. So people know that now. So I don't know what you want to call it. So why is Ben Shapiro so mad we're getting out of Syria? Is it for America's interest? No. Well, if you say it's not, he'll call you anti-Semitic, but maybe we were there for a different reason. I don't know why we're in Syria, which is a Christian area, funding radical Islamists to fight a proxy war with Russia. I don't know exactly why, but according to my research, that doesn't help America or, free loving people in the Middle East. All right, so now people are upset. I'm going to answer some questions, because literally, like, not everybody, obviously. I want to answer to some of this stuff, because for some reason, like, when I say the truth in this area, I might as well not even to like half of my followers on Facebook because they're like they freak out. They're like, no, 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 no. Someone says you can't be defending Fenton. Guys, if you don't believe in free speech for people you disagree with, you don't believe in free speech at all. This was a Noam Chomsky statement 10 years ago. Now the right wing can't even comprehend it. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? I'm not defending what he's saying. I'm defending his free speech to say it. And if you can't debate Nick Fuentes without calling him racist and anti-Semitic, maybe you're not that smart. Maybe you're not that honest. I'm sorry. I don't agree with the guy. I don't agree with his stances on a lot of different things, but he would smoke Charlie Kirk in a debate. That's why Charlie Kirk doesn't want to debate him. I don't even agree with Nick on a large portion of him, but I defend his right to say it, just like I defend Ben Shapiro's right to hate Arabs. I don't call him Islamophobic. If you can't debate him, you're full of shit. So the fact that you don't even get that now, that used to be a liberal stance. Now it's not even a conservative stance. Oh, you're defending free speech anomaly. If because he questioned history. So now I'm going to condemn that. And then in 3 years, you're not allowed to do that. And you're like, oh no, but I didn't. Well, once you sell out that, you sell it all out. So they use that to get it from you. Do you not get that? I love Israel. I love Jews. I love free speech, though. So if I give up my free speech for Israel and Jews and edgy conversations about history bother me, now you've given up free speech. And then they take that, just like they did with gay marriage, just like they do with everything. And that's why you lose. What do you not understand about that? Oh, how dare you defend his freedom to say things that I think are mean? I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It only bothers people who can't argue about it. Or I don't know. I have Jewish friends who think it's funny. I have some who are appalled by it, but debate them. I don't even agree with the stances, but I'm not going to cave like these phony conservatives because they cave and then they get hit with the same thing months later. Oh, I'm not anti-Semitic. Well, neither were they, but you said that. So now you're screwed. Someone said freedom of speech is the most valuable thing we have. Absolutely. Without the First Amendment, you don't have anything in this country. And I'm here. I don't need any more problems in my life, okay? I don't need to do this. I could just make funny Trump memes and make a lot of money. I am telling you this because the left wing has all but given up free speech. Noam Chomsky used to say, like I just said a bunch of times, if you don't believe in free speech for the person you hate the most, you don't actually believe in free speech. The left gave that up. So now the only people defending free speech in this country, mostly, are the right wing. And all of the big right wing institutions are fucking fake. They don't care about free speech. They don't care about it for people they disagree with. They don't care about it for the truth. It's not just mean, fake, wrong things that Nick Fuentes says. They say that. Look at the mean, terrible thing Nick Fuentes said. But then I say the truth. They say that's anti-Semitic. They say that's anti-Semitic. They say that. They don't fucking care. So if you don't believe in free speech, that's fine, but don't act like it's my problem. They don't care. All the big right-wing institutions have given it up. So I'm a little pissed off because I thought this was the team that was going to stand up for freedom, but this is the team doing nothing. This is the team that smears everybody. This is the team that sells it out. This is the team that can't even have a conversation, and they can't have a conversation because they don't want to talk about stuff. If the amount of Jewish influence was Muslim, they'd be all over it, Sharia law. But because it's Jewish, not only do they not care, but they won't even allow you to talk about it. They've disinvited their own cartoonists from events for doing a George Soros and a Rothschilds cartoon. So now on the right wing, you're not even allowed to make a cartoon about them. Fuck these people. And anybody who thinks I'm lying or that I'm being mean, I care about free speech. If you're so brainwashed that you don't care about free speech anymore, what's the point? What are you doing? You're not doing anything. And none of these big people are doing it. That's why I like what Fuentes is doing. I don't even agree with him. His style is not my style. His beliefs are not my beliefs, but he exposed who they are and what they're doing. And I've known this for a year. And I told you this 6 months ago. I'm sorry that it took the Groypers and Nick Fuentes' little crew to expose that. They just stepped up to the plate. I don't agree with everything they said. I don't like the way they framed every question. I disavow every terrible thing he's ever said. Oh, world peace happens. I disavowed. But I'm very grateful that they exposed what I've tried to say for 8 months. I made a video about this 6 months ago. I said, guys, the Republicans are selling out your free speech. Oh, well, it's okay if we do it because it's not the left. Is it though? What am I lying about, Brian? Brian Fletcher says that Amelie likes to lie. All right, Brian. Tell me what I'm lying about. This is my favorite part. Let's do it. Someone said, how does free speech kill people? Free speech doesn't kill people. People die when they give up free speech by the millions usually. So, they'll use events from history. How dare you question this? Next thing you know, you're in communist Soviet Union. So they're like, oh, you can't do this. You can't. Oh, no, we're fighting the Nazis, guys. We're fighting the Nazis. We're so not anti-Semitic, guys. Come on, we're doing it for the right wing. And then next thing you know, you're in a communist country where you can't say anything. You can't do anything. Someone said, I've never thought you were anti-Semitic and it's not anti-free speech to condemn that hateful kid. I'm not condemning him because he has points to make where he runs circles around other people. There's things that Nick Fuentes said that I don't agree with, but I'll tell you what, he's got a lot of very interesting things to say, and I think he would crush Charlie Kirk in a debate. So if I'm gonna disavow Nick Fuentes, I disavow every neocon. I disavow Ben Shapiro for his horrible foreign policy and his stance on free speech. I disavow Dave Rubin, PragerU, TPUSA. I disavow the entire right wing. I disavow Donald Trump because even he's, stretched on anti-Semitism a little bit, and it's going to bite him in the butt as well, whether he knows it or not. So no, I'm not disavowing him. Why? Why don't you debate him? Take his edgiest stance and debate him. You probably can't. That's why you want to. What is disavow? That's blocking. I could talk ideas. I can tell you what I think. I'm glad that him and his people are exposing Conservative Inc. for the anti-free speech frauds that they are. I condemn every bad thing that everyone ever said in the world, but I'm not going to specifically disavow. That's some stupid little dumb term. So you don't have to. I disavow. What does that mean? Oh, I disavow Hillary Clinton. I disavow Nick Fuentes. I disavow Ben Shapiro. I don't want to disavow Ben Shapiro. I want to debate him. What does disavow mean? If I disavow Ben Shapiro or Nick Fuentes, does that dissolve? Why don't you get to the root of his argument? Because I'll tell you what, when it comes to a lot of what this country's doing, he knows a lot more than Charlie Kirk. He would crush Charlie Kirk in a debate. So let him crush Charlie Kirk in a debate, and then I'll disavow both of them. He asked I'm asking what you're lying about. What's your question? Someone said you've all been red flagged for watching this. Turn in your guns immediately. Let's see. Disavow anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, sexism, racism. These were all words to be created to say, is it true? Is it false? Is it right? Is it wrong? So when it comes to Nick Fuentes, we could go through every one of his arguments. Instead of calling it anti-Semitic or condemning it, let's talk about the content of what he's saying. And then I could tell you, is that true? Is it false? Is it right? Is it wrong? Is he allowed to have that opinion that disagrees with mine or not? That's what I'll do. I'm not going to disavow because it makes no sense. Why would I disavow him when he's not all lying about everything? Some things he says are edgy, and honestly, I find him pretty funny. Like if you watch him, he's like a comedian. So it's like, they're like, how dare him call Dave Rubin Jewy Jewstein? Like obviously that's edgy, but it's also kind of funny, It's like, it doesn't bother me. I'm sorry that it bothers you, but some things I'll see what he says. I'll be like, yeah, I don't agree with that. But what does disavow mean? Like some things he says I do agree with, and I'm sorry. Like they just say I 100% disagree with everything that they ever say. This is why you get lied to. I don't like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I don't like Ilhan Omar. What does disavow mean? Oh, I disavow them. That's stupid. And then once in a while, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says something true, and I'm like, hey, she told the truth, and people are like, a broken clock strikes twice a day. She's disavow. It's stupid. It's either like, is it true? Someone said Trump isn't anti-Semitic. Of course he's not, but they're calling him that because the whole word doesn't even make sense to begin with. So Trump is the least anti-Semitic person ever, but that doesn't stop liberals from calling him alt-right. They call him anti-Semitic. Everything he does is anti-Semitic and alt-right. That's why you shouldn't have a right wing who plays those games. That's all I'm saying. Of course he's not, but when you have a wing of your party that just slowly puts you down the hill, they're like, we're trying to please the liberal media. Look how it's like they'll never like you. Liberal media will never like you. Someone said, I agree with what you're saying, but the Democrats are a much bigger threat to our freedom. I agree, but here's the I'm not telling you to vote Democrat. I'm not here like, oh my God, they're selling you out. Go vote Democrat. I'll never vote Democrat again. I can't think of a single time that it would even make sense. So I'm not. I obviously Democrats are a bigger threat to our freedom. But if you have a game and you think the one team's your team, but you realize they're not your team, to me that's a deal worth talking about because there's 1,000 conservatives who are going to say the same thing. They're going to apply employment. They're going to tell you how, they're going to make jokes about Joe Biden, which I did at the beginning. It's funny. It's funny, but then I have no value. My value is being different from everyone else. My value is doing unique content. So, of course, the left wing is a bigger threat. But when your team isn't really your team, you're screwed. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do you want to lose in 10 years or do you want to lose in 30 years? Or do you want to lose in 5 years? Or do you want to lose in 15 years? It's like, that's what I'm saying. Someone said Fuentes has said those who work for the news are race traders. It does. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I like comedy. Like, that stuff doesn't bother me. Like, are you guys really that big of snowflakes? Like, if Don Lemon calls me a race trader or I call Don Lemon a race trader, which I don't do, but it's like, who cares? Like, I feel like I'm in high school again. Like, I kind of think if done properly, I think it's hilarious. Sometimes I think it's not true, but overall, who cares? Like, none of this stuff really bothers me. Like, someone was like, Louis Farrakhan said white people have tails. Like, oh, whoa, no. My whole life's ruined because Louis Farrakhan thinks I have a tail. Like, it just feels so dumb to me. Who is the number one Democratic threat? I mean, I talk about the media a lot because the media controls the minds of the masses. I think they're behind a lot of this stuff. So I don't know. Someone said, I love that we could have conversations. That's what it's all about. And I'm one of the only people having this conversation in a calm manner. So if you don't, I'm not saying you, but if they don't allow me to have this conversation in a calm manner, then they only want people going to people more extreme. And then they wonder why the extreme thoughts are growing. It's because this conversation I'm having is not even allowed in the realm of right wing. So then they're building extreme feelings and then they wonder why they're growing. Thank you, Caroline. They've called. I'm not even like, you think that this is like some sort of like Jewish thing. They've called a Jewish woman a Nazi. Right wingers. I'm not talking about the left who lies about everything. The left calls Steve Miller a white supremacist because he shared an immigration blog. And then you have right wing, like mainstream blue check mark right wing journalists calling Jewish women Nazis. These people are such snowflakes. It's like, just because she's a Jewish woman, but she's not a snowflake, they're like, well, you're a boyfriend. I don't even know who her boyfriend is, but it's like, you're not even Jewish. Who are you to tell a Jewish person that they hate Jews? Like, oh, you're anti-Semitic because you shut up. You get what I'm saying? It's so annoying. I'm so tired of these people. All right, let's answer some questions. I'm only about right from wrong. The words, I'm going to say this like Jesse Lee Peterson says it. It's true or it's false. It's right or it's wrong. It's good or it's evil. There is no anti-Semitic, racist, sexist, xenophobic, Islamophobic. These are all tools of the oppressor to censor you and rig your language. There's a reason there's no word for white. There's no word for Christian. There's no word for Catholic. You don't have a word because language has been rigged against you. So either you stop using their language or you use their language and you join the censors and the oppressors. And that's the big point I'm trying to get across, is the mainstream right-wing campus conservative group has joined the oppressors and joined the censors. They use their labeling. They use their smear tactics. They use their censorship words, and then they act like they're fighting censorship. Stop using their words completely because you're in their world. In my world, there's no, this is not even a thing. Like, even with what Nick Fuentes says, this is a tough conversation, but me personally, race does not dominate my world. But if it dominates your world, who am I to tell you who you are? Like, some people get mad at me because I don't care about race enough. They're like, why don't you feel like me? I don't know. It's not a big deal to me, but I'm not going to stop you from pointing out patterns and trends or having your preference. There's a lot of, Asian people who, like, when they come to America, they marry Asians. So Nick Fuentes has an edgy thought on that. the only reason it's controversial is because he's white. If he was black or Hispanic or Asian, no one would care. So why am I going to act like I care? It's not my idea, but my feelings just don't get hurt by that. Like, I don't know. There's things that bother me more. That's just not one of them. Someone said conservatives and Republicans are not the same. I mean, you could use whatever word you want, but it's like, yeah, you get what I'm saying. It all seems so scripted. The whole world seems scripted. Welcome to the show. It all seems scripted. Someone said the bastardization. No word even means anything anymore. So it's like, don't use the word anti-Semitic. Pinpoint why you're mad. If you don't like Nick Fuentes or you don't like anybody, Ilhan Omar, pinpoint why you're mad. Because if you can't pinpoint exactly what you don't like and why it's wrong, you might not know what you're talking about. And that's what happened with Ilhan Omar. I don't like Ilhan Omar. She's one of the most annoying people I've ever seen. But Republicans decided to, en masse, including the president, call her anti-Semitic because she said it's all about the Benjamins. It is all about the Benjamins, and her criticism of AIPAC was 100% correct. So now you have Republicans who are supposed to be standing up for the truth. They've forfeited the truth. If you don't stand in truth, you don't have any power. That's why we're winning. Trump is winning, and we're winning because we're leading with more truth. We're leading with the blunt truth. If you forfeit that, we don't have strength anymore. That's what I'm saying. Yes, the left is a bigger threat, but we have to lead with truth. We can't get behind these false leaders who sell out our free speech and give the truth away and then say that hurts my feelings and I can't explain why. You can't explain. The reason they have to call that anti-Semitic is because they can't explain what bothers them about it. The reason they can't explain what bothers them about it is because it's true. Whether from dual loyalty to AIPAC to it's all about the Benjamins, there's nothing wrong about that. I don't think Ilhan Omar likes America or Jews very much, but I don't need to call her anti-Semitic and just broaden the term and call everything she says. It's a losing battle. Someone said people have forgotten communication and a sense of humor. Dude, and that's the thing with Fuentes too. He's funnier than all of these people combined. Like, they're all so mad at him, but they're all not talented enough. Like, I don't believe everything he says or agree with everything he says, but all the people who are the most mad at him have no talent. They're not funny. They're putting people to sleep on college campuses and they're selling out free speech. So why? I'm going to condemn you and I'll condemn him at the same time or something. Like, it's like, you must condemn him. Why don't I condemn you? Because you have no talent and you're not funny. He makes me crack up. Is that my fault? I like comedy. So get someone funnier who tells, more truth instead of condemning everything. It's like the people the most upset have like zero talent. Someone said, what's up with all the haters tonight? Anytime I talk about what I just talked about, people can't handle it. But the reason people can't handle it is because it's a conversation they've never heard before. The reason it's a conversation they've never heard before is because all the big right-wing institutions don't talk about it. The reason they don't talk about it is because they don't care about it. The reason they don't care about it, you can speculate, but I'm not here to get invited to a party. I'm not here to get booked on a college campus. I'm here to not lie. And if I don't have truth, I have no power. My power is not in any, like, people don't like me for any other reason besides I don't lie to them. I hope entertaining, I hope I'm interesting and funny sometimes, but mostly people like that they could trust my news analysis, and I've gained trust by not lying. So if I sit here and lie just to fit in with right wingers, I have no value anymore, and it doesn't matter. Someone said I miss the old ACLU who sued to allow the KKK to march in Illinois. That's absolutely right. Very liberal ACLU who think men have periods now. They sued to let the KKK march. It's not that they agreed with them. They hated them. But that used to be a liberal stance, was if you don't agree with freedom of expression, for everybody you disagree with the most, it sounds horrible. It sounds bad. But there's a reason that free speech was that. They've all but sold it out. The left wing has sold out free speech. And trust me, it's gone from that to that, to that, to that. Now we're here. People are like, Anomaly, you have to disavow this 20-year-old kid on YouTube. No, because this is a tactic and a trick to get something that you don't like, to get you to convince you to sell out your own free speech. People always ask me, Anomaly, how do liberals believe this stuff? How do they sell out the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment? Why don't they care about anything? Why don't they care about the truth? I say, if you want to understand how they could be so strong in their convictions of being wrong, just look at the right wing. Look at when I talk about this stuff. How many people get mad? How many people don't want to hear it? Once you can manipulate people emotionally and religiously and, all these sort of ways, you can convince them to sell out their own freedom. I mean, why do you think every liberal is a horrible, bad person? No, they're nice people. They've bought into a lie that's convinced them that doing the wrong thing's the right thing. So someone said the mainstream left is a threat to free people. The mainstream media is bad, but when you have that, and then the media who's fighting them, it's like a play fight. All right, you gotta say, bro. All right, Brian said Anomaly's a soft-spoken liar. All right, Brian, you gotta say something, bro. You gotta make a point. You gotta say what I'm lying about. Someone said credibility is your best quality. Don't ever lose it. Of course, I know this, and I'm telling you, I know this is why there's a divide on the right now. Everyone's gonna vote for Trump. Don't worry, it's not gonna throw off the election. Nobody's seeing this and oh, I'm gonna vote for a Democrat now. Why? I mean, you could vote for who you want to, but it's not like I'm leading people the wrong way. This is a proper thing because it's like the Democrats. They don't want to. Oh, we can't debate. No. You got to just follow us. If you're following the wrong people, there's no point. The Democrats are, they need a little revolution, or else they're never going to win again. So, bro, you got to say something. All right, here. Let's do this, Scott, since we haven't done this now. All right, Scott said, I disagree, bro. Where Omar is concerned, don't think any doubt that she's anti-Semitic. If we could peel her head open, sounds nice. I'm sure we'd find a person who hates Jews. All right, see, this is a perfect example. First of all, now you're basically threatening her, which is a horrible idea. You're like, oh, I'm a nice person, but I want to peel her head open, dude. You're really creepy now. But also, first, you lose this conversation because you're literally. This is not what free speech is about. You can't even debate about Ilhan Omar without saying you're gonna assault her and peel her head open, dude. You got some problems, my man. Like that, I'm gonna win the debate by peeling her head open and looking inside of it. Okay, but second of all, I don't think the word anti-Semitic doesn't even make sense to begin with. It's only used to censor you. She doesn't like America, probably. She doesn't like Israel. But, she likes Bernie Sanders. He's Jewish. She likes liberal Jews who don't care about Israel that much. So, there's no, you using that word, explain what stance is. You don't know. You just want to peel her head open. Someone said, hold up. Did you just say, don't worry, everyone's going to vote for Trump? I don't know who everyone's going to vote for. I'm just saying, never mind. All right. Did Brian ask a question? What did he say? I don't know. Did he finally ask a question? I can't see everything. Sorry. Someone said, dude, what about Sandy Hook? I mean, that's so long ago. I'm not talking about Sandy Hook right now. It's not the smart move. Let's see. Trying to read some comments. Thank you for being honest. Anomaly says Shane. Thank you, Shane, for the super chat. Someone said there's no reason to use these words, guys. They're only going to be used against you. Someone said I'm stuck of all both parties put us through. Congress is terrible. They need to kick everybody out besides Rand Paul and Tulsi Gabbard. They can stay. People are like, but Tulsi Gabbard. I said she could stay. You don't have to like her, but if we get all new Congress, that's fine. She said he wants to know about Sandy Hook. Why? That's like 7 years ago. I've never even talked about Sandy Hook, so I'm not going to start now. Let's see. Someone said you are the only honest person about Trump. You changed my mind about him. And that's the thing too. When you do too much, you actually build extremists. I want to explain this too, because I understand a lot of people are upset with me or other people because they don't want a bunch of people to hate Jewish people. I understand that you don't want to build hate for a group of people. I get that. But what a lot of people don't understand, especially on the right, is The way to stop hate is by having conversations that I'm having. The way to stop hate is to talk to, my buddy Andrew Meyer, who's an Orthodox Jew, but who agrees with me on almost everything. So it's like he's willing to tell the truth. How you build extremism is acting like a lot of these organizations do, never taking any self accountability, never admitting anything, smearing everybody, calling everything anti Semitic. That doesn't stop extremism. That only makes people believe that you're all in on it. You know what I'm saying? When you find and talk to Jewish people who break from the mold, you're like, oh, okay, this guy gets it. I'm lucky enough to have so many Jewish friends that I have liberal, Republican people who are mad at that, people who think humor is hilarious. I have so many different friends. I know it's not all people, but a lot of these groups, they love Israel and Jewish people so much, or they claim to, that they actually make people hate them more, because it's like you're not even allowed to say anything anti-Semitic, 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 anti-Semitic. You can't even point out trends or statistics or facts. So then people start hating more. So it's like, if you really want people to not hate, you can't be this like protected class that sells out free speech and admits nothing. It's like they never take accountability for anything. Like it's not a good strategy. And I don't want people to be hateful, but it's like, I see why people hate the Democrats. It's because they never take accountability for everything, and they're constantly lying and subverting and doing the wrong thing. It's not helping. So someone said, what's up in Syria? Trekka had some postings. I don't know exactly what's happening, but according to Reuters, not that that's really a reliable source, but it seems like according to Trekka and the mainstream media, I don't know, Israel's attacking Iranian troops or something in Syria. I don't know. But right as Trump stops attacking Syria, Israel starts attacking Syria because they have a lot of stake in the game. That's right next to their country. So I don't know what's going on. Talk to Trekka. He knows more because he lives there. Someone said here, this is a good question, I guess. Let me see. Do you think, hold on, let's scroll. Do you think Trump was smart about choking Iran's economy, which led to the current situation? And finally, the young people are trying to overthrow the government. I love Trump. I don't know. Because it's like, to me, I don't really care who the president of Iran is. That's not up to me. And I think it only fuels, in my opinion, like the United States has been involved in Iran so many times. A lot of people blame us for the modern Muslim Iran. If you look at Iran from the 60s and 70s, Iran looked like New York City. Women didn't have to wear hijabs and stuff. So the CIA or America gets involved, and all of a sudden they have a coup, and then all of a sudden they're Muslims. So it's like, I would prefer we just stay out of everything. Like, I know Trump supporters want me to say, yeah, I love the fact that he's choking out Iran, but it's like, probably if we never got involved in Iran, they wouldn't have been like that in the first place. And now they're like that. We're always blamed. This is why people hate us. This is why a lot of countries hate the United States and Israel. It's because we're constantly getting involved in everything. And then it gets worse. And then, we blame socialism. And I don't think socialism works. But in Venezuela, it's like, let's just stay out of it. We get involved. And then they say, oh, it didn't work because America got involved. I get it's a complex thing. I like that Trump, I'd rather him economically attack them than militarily. So I like that part of it. But I don't know. I don't know enough about what's actually going on there. But I don't know. Like, we're always it's like us and Russia. We're everywhere. We're trying to get involved, do this. It's like, it's a game of risk. I can't really tell you what the right move is. Someone said USA has been involved in Iran pre-World War II, for sure. So it's like, yeah, someone said we're bullies. Absolutely. Someone said he's not choking out Iran. President Trump didn't want anything to do with them. That's not true, Linda. They meant financially. Trump put a lot of sanctions on them. He's like really screwing up the economy. So at least he's not shooting missiles. But someone said, Joe said, I've been watching your analysis before Trump was elected when you were on Periscope. Keep up the good work, bro. Thank you. That's a good question. What do you think will happen when Barr's report comes out? I hope it's big. That's all I'm gonna say. Whether it's here, even in Israel recently, Netanyahu got indicted on bribery charges. And if you look at those bribery charges, they're phony. Like, they're doing the same thing to Netanyahu that they're doing to Trump here, whether you like him or not. It's like the things that they're trying to accuse Trump of doing and Netanyahu are one millionth of stuff that they themselves do. So uh, the report has to be good, because if you don't stop these people, they're never going to stop. They've already let Epstein get away. So if they don't do anything about the Epstein situation and the 2016, coup situation, then they have to come up big. I don't know if they're going to, but if it's a dud, this stuff's never going to stop. These people are so sneaky. Like the things that they've done to the president, they need this. The Barr report needs to be huge. If it's not, if it's like the Epstein thing where it just disappears, it's not good. But we'll see. Someone said we had Iranian college students living us in the 1960s. Yeah, Iran was beautiful and was not an Islamic state earlier, and then the United States and I'm sure others got involved, and all of a sudden it is. So that's the irony of listening to these people like the neocons, where they're always like, we're fighting radical Islamic terrorism. But if you look at what they've done over the years, including the last 10 years, they don't fight radical. That's the thing. People get me confused. I don't like radical Islamic terrorism, but the difference between me and other Republicans is they'll literally fund with your taxpayers, radical Islamic terrorism, and then they'll tell you that they're fighting them. And then you'll call me a phony. You'll be like, I'm a patriot. I love this country. I love Israel. I'm fighting. Yeah, but you're funding radical Islamic terrorism. So it's like, if you keep funding it, it's never going to end. If you fund radical Islam in a Christian country like Syria, or it's not a Christian country, but there's more Christians there, or there were before the war, than any other place in the Middle East, you're not doing yourself any favors. Someone said Epstein's not dead. Probably not. I'd love to help you get your music out there, man. I mean, okay. What do you think about Soros? I think he's a billionaire who, I'm trying not to get sued right now. Hold on. He's a billionaire who has a lot of political influence. He's toppled entire countries, their economy before. I mean, that's even on a CBS interview. And he is involved in a lot of things. He has a lot of money and he has a certain agenda. And that's what I think about him. But that's kind of the point of this stream, is now you're not allowed to say stuff about him because the right wing's laid a framework that is used a certain word. And now if you talk about Soros, they'll call you that certain word. So someone says Soros is banned in 6 nations. Yeah, I never counted, but I know he's definitely got kicked out of somewhere else recently. I think it was it Poland, or I can't remember. Someone said, I don't like the way you say it. Hold on. I don't like the way you say it. Wait. I don't like the way you say it. Bush, yes. McCain, yes. But it's really Obama too. Of course, yeah. No, I'm just trying to. Of course, it's Obama. Yeah, Obama was just like a total puppet, and it's also Democrats for years too. I'm not blaming everything on Republicans. I just talk about Republicans because I think a large majority of my audience is conservative and Republican, and they follow a lot of Republican people who lead them down the wrong path. I'm not trying to tell you who to not believe, but I'm real. Like people want me to disavow Nick. I want to disavow Ben Shapiro for his foreign policy. Like Ben's joke or Ben's mean words are not as bad as Shapiro convincing millions of Christians that it's a great idea to go into the most Christian place in the Middle East and basically, try to destroy the leader and overturn the country. That's horrible. I mean, you know how many people, like, to me, he's free to say that, but if you want to ask me what's worse, a mean joke or something very mean that I don't agree with, and somebody who convinces a bunch of people to turn against their own religion, and basically destabilize the Middle East, which is going to lead to a refugee crisis and get a bunch of Muslims and Christians, kidnapped and stuff. I mean, to me, there's no, one of them's a lot worse than another. Anyone seen Julian Assange? I don't know what's going on with Julian Assange. He's a warrior, though. He'll be good. Someone said, come to the libertarian side. We have cookies and guns. I mean, I'm kind of libertarian. I say I'm libertarian-ish. I just think the Libertarian Party sucks. They got to get better leadership. But I'm essentially a libertarian, but I'm also conservative, I guess, and then I'm also I don't mind people who are further like right than me. I don't mind people who are far left as long as they're not attacking people. It's like, you know, the mainstream conservatives want to condemn like ideas don't bother me. You know what I'm saying? It's not a big deal to me. So I appreciate like people who are much more conservative than I am, and I stand up for them a lot because I think they're right about a lot of stuff. Someone said leave Ben alone. I'm I'm just saying, I guess okay. Do you get what I'm saying though with Ben? Ben, I'm gonna say it again now that you told me not to. Ben has all these debates. He debates, 18-year-olds on college campuses. He debates Sam Harris, the pseudo intellectual atheist. He debates, you know, the right wingers that are allowed to go on the show, Neil deGrasse Tyson, but he's never had a foreign policy debate. He's never debated somebody like that actually knows what he's saying is not true. So he has like a control matrix where he tells people every day that, oh, you're standing up for Israel, you're standing up for America, we're gonna fight radical Islam. But Ben's agenda in the Middle East is horrible. He doesn't even agree with President Trump. If you like Trump, no, I mean, you don't, it's not a cult, but I'm just saying, Ben hates Trump's foreign policy. He always disagrees with them because Ben wants to overthrow Syria, probably for Israel or for his own neocon agenda for whatever reason. But that's a really Christian place. They protect Christians more than ever. There were 2 million before the war. Now there's a million Christians dead and displaced in the Middle East. The only, stronghold where they celebrate Christmas. And he never tells you why. He's just like, oh, we got to do it. Bashar al-Assad's a bad man. He's a butcher. He's chemically attacking his own people. Yeah, I'm sure he is. He's just like, let me kill my own people for no reason. Like, yeah, I mean, it's very believable. So he never tells you why. And he's got like a major Christian following. He's got like the most Christians out of anyone. And they don't even know that Christians died because of that foreign policy. It doesn't make sense. You can't go to the number one most Christian place in the Middle East and try to kill the government and the leader. That's a suicide mission. That's going to literally destabilize the region. Why would you want to destabilize maybe the only place in the Middle East that's somewhat stable for Christians? Who wants to do that stuff? So I'm not attacking him. I'm just tired of him. Like everyone's like, he's untouchable. You can't disagree with him. He doesn't agree with free speech. He has horrible foreign policy. He constantly labels people like Ron Paul and President Trump alt-right so they can get banned and censored by, the ADL and others. I don't know, like he's the most deceptive person out of all of them. Charlie Kirk is probably just trying to do what he's doing. Like I don't even think he knows what he's doing half the time, but Ben knows exactly what he's doing. So I'm not leaving him alone. He's got a massive platform. He gains your trust by making fun of liberals, and then he convinces you to try to regime change a country in the Middle East where Christians can actually not get killed. So I think it's people are like disavow Nick. I'd much rather disavow Ben. Someone said Trump tried his hardest to clean up Syria, but is now taking control of their oil, and he did it with North Korea, but the rest of his foreign policies have been doo-doo. I think he's leagues better than Hillary would have done or anyone would have done, but Trump is finding out the hard way. We should play the Trump clip where he says there's a military industrial complex. He's surrounded by people like Ben Shapiro who won't let him do anything. So he tried his best in Syria, but yeah, he took the oil, he stopped the war, and now Israel's attacking, Syria and picking up where he left off. So he tried, he's doing what he can, but the swamp is much deeper and bigger than most people think. And it's also, there are a lot of like proxy wars as well. Like Russia is really a threat. Just because Hillary lied about Russia for a couple of years doesn't mean they're not a threat. They do have a lot of power and influence, and they are taking over countries. China goes certain places. So, I get it's complex, but compare Trump's foreign policy to Obama's. I mean, it's really bad. Trump's getting away from the regime change thing, but it's like, dude, the world is such a shit show. I mean, he's doing what he can. Someone said you're partially right about Ben. I never disliked him until I saw him call Trump alt-right. If you get labeled alt-right, that's like one of the worst labels they can label you as, and then they can deplatform you, they could censor you, they can call you supremacist. He called Trump an alt-right, He called Ron Paul an alt-right. He called Breitbart News, who he used to work for, alt-right, who has a Jewish CEO, by the way. He's calling them alt-right, like he doesn't know better. And then he totally turns his back on free speech. He says this is anti-Semitic. It's anti-Semitic to suggest dual loyalty, blah, blah, blah. He's all against snowflakes, and then it has to do with his own race and religion. And then all of a sudden he turns into a snowflake. He's a PR team for himself, but everyone else, free speech for everyone except for, my people. You can't go near them. But you have your free speech over there. Just don't come anywhere near anything that I'm doing. He's not pro free speech, and his foreign policy is literally 180 from what you should do, which is fine. But once they sold out free speech, I'm done. I'm tired of them. Like, he can have terrible foreign policy. I never bothered him. But the second I saw that they don't care about free speech, now they're trying to destroy everybody who questions them, because people who question them are usually right. I don't need to destroy anybody who has, speculations about anything to do with what I'm doing. That's not how I operate. My truth will win. I'm not lying, so I don't need to censor people. They want to censor people. I'm not just making this up. Guys, I've shown so much proof. I don't know. Someone said, dude, I want to read that. Eric, thank you. He said, you are wired for your opinion on the moon landing, but you are dead on about the freedom of speech and the political team mentality. I mean, when it's all said and done, bro, you're going to realize that my space thoughts and my moon landing thoughts are closer to home than you thought. And I want to talk about, a lot of right wingers say you can't question history, like certain things in history. They say you can't question that. That's designed to make it so you can't question any history. If you can't question one part of history and you're a denier, now you can't question any part of history. And the truth is about history, they've lied about quite a lot. That's just the truth. I mean, you talk about, Hitler dying. There's a whole theory that he never died, because he probably never did. He probably escaped and went to Argentina or Antarctica or something. And I know that sounds crazy, but there's literal documents of United States presidents and others speculating that they have no proof that he died. They're like, they don't even know. So it's like they act like they're helping Jewish people, and they say you can't say this, or you can't question this, or you can't do this for this group. But it's really just a front to get you to accept not having free speech and to not question things. And I mean, the truth is not just about the moon, but Antarctica. When it's all said and done, you realize there's a lot more, a lot less there than you thought there was. What are your thoughts on the moon landing? I don't want to get into it right now, but I mean, I've studied a lot of space, and what do you think about the moon landing? Let's start with that. Do you think it's weird that we went in 1969 and never really went back and said we were going to go a couple years later, and say that the technology is not good enough now? And now our big NASA thing is we make women's spacesuits and send them to the International Space Station. I mean, I'm not buying it, but maybe someone else is. Someone said no one's seen Tupac dead. I'm not going to call you anti-black for questioning Tupac's death, or anti-Biggie, or it's like I don't care who questions what. It just doesn't bother me. But maybe I'm so terrible for that. It's like, oh, Namli, you don't understand what it's like to not let people question things. It's like, okay. And history needs to be questioned. You should here's one thing about World War II that everyone should question, because I know they freak out about some things. You should question the fact that did we not work with Russia? Or it's like they're like, the communists killed 34 however many million people, but then we worked with them to defeat Nazi Germany. And then Nazi Germany, 1,600 Nazi Germany party members and scientists came to the United States under Operation Paperclip, founded the moon program. Bayer now owns Monsanto, owns your seed supply. So it's like everyone wants to call everyone a Nazi, but they don't want to literally actually talk about Nazis. Like, I don't think Hitler died. Most Nazis came to the United States. So something weird's going on. Did we defeat ISIS and bring 1,600 ISIS leaders to our country? Or, if we defeated Russia, would we let 1,600 Russian scientists, engineers, and political party? You let your enemy's political party infiltrate your government purposely? I mean, nothing about it makes sense. World War II makes absolutely no sense. So even in the way they say it, it makes no sense. But they want to just condition you. I mean, communism was horrible, but they never talk about it. It's barely taught in schools. Most kids don't even know about it. They did a study. Someone said, do you think Epstein killed himself? No, absolutely not. I'm not, until I have video footage, which doesn't exist because they took it off, I'm not convinced he's dead. What an easy way to get away. I mean, I think that the big thing is everyone thinks he got killed. I don't even think he's dead. There's no video footage. No one saw anything. What an easy way to escape. Someone said, Anomaly, here's the real question. Did World War II actually end or did it go into the shadows? That's a great question, Awaken ER. I would say it probably went into the shadows, like you said. I mean, I don't think it I don't know that it ended. Yuri Bezmenov said it best. He said, American liberals are foolish. They think the war is over. Even me, when I talk about the Middle East, I don't like certain things that are happening, but I will acknowledge, even with Ben, I don't like his foreign policy. I get that there is a war, there is like a proxy war. So a lot of anti-regime change people think Russia's like innocent, where it's like, no, Russia's like everywhere. Ukraine, Syria, there's multiple elements. So that's why I don't like these labels. Like, oh, it's anti-Semitic. It's this Russia. It's like, no, let's call it like it is. We're working with Saudi Arabia and Israel, and a lot of people have a lot of agendas. And Russia is working with Iran, and we're working with Turkey, and there's a big plot going on in Ukraine. The real Ukraine thing has nothing to do with what they're saying. Everything they're saying for the Ukraine, it's all protecting stuff that they've done, from Zelensky getting into office to the prosecutors to the energy companies that their kids were on the board of. This has nothing to do with Trump. They're probably scared shitless that what they did in Ukraine. You can look, I think it was Ukraine. If you look at the Google Ukraine, like right-wing neo-Nazi takeover or something, and then search Charlottesville, it looks exactly the same. Ukraine, I believe it was, had like a big revolution where the far right neo-Nazis took over the government, or they did something. They're all using, tiki torches. It literally looks exactly like Charlottesville. And it was probably an American-funded coup of some sort in Ukraine, because we're always battling with Russia for territory. So I don't know exactly what went on there, but like that's why I don't like these people that just like say, it's racist, it's sexist, it's this, it's like they're not talking about anything. It's like we can joke about how old Joe Biden is. It's hilarious, but at a certain point, that's why I like people who dive deeper. Alex Jones is, he could be a little bit off the rails, but like I prefer him to a Shapiro for that reason. He goes deeper. And then I also prefer other people to Alex Jones because they go a level deeper. It's like, if you're on the surface, it could be fun and you learn some stuff, but then it's like you start getting the opinions where they say, Anomaly, your moon things are conspiracies. And then they say, the government should be allowed to mandate vaccines, and you're kooky anti-vaxxer. They start coming with these really low IQ or low level opinions where you're like, no, I don't want that. I'd rather go deeper with the crazy people. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you. Do you think the USA is a corporation? We're like a corporation and a cult and like a religious, probably like secret society. I don't know what we are, but yeah, a lot of it has to do with money, but it also has a lot to do with like power and allegiances. And I mean, there's a lot of people that exert power over America, I believe. And some of it's financial, but a lot of it is probably something else. Did you see Glenn Beck's video, Democrats Hydra? No, I didn't see that. People were talking about it, though. Someone said the 10-inch floppy readers became too cumbersome for retrieving info on the moon landing. Dude, the story about the moon landing is so funny. Like, people think I'm crazy for not believing it. I think it's funny to believe it. Like, even with what they told you, like, it's hilarious. Let's just get it. We're gonna have some fun here. Let's listen to what this is a NASA scientist. This is the oldest, I believe, Don Pettit. This is like the oldest living NASA engineer. He talks about why we don't go back to the moon. This is a NASA documentary. So if people wonder why I don't listen.
Take a listen. I can go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process. Yeah.
All right, I'll read that back if you didn't hear the end of it. So he said, I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have that technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. Let's see. Yeah, so he literally said, we used to have moon landing technology. Back when we had floppy disks and we had giant computers that weren't even as strong as your cell phone, it was a piece of cake to get through the Van Allen radio belt. But now, in 2019, when we have Google supercomputers that literally are smarter than like a million humans put together, they can beat you in chess, they can destroy you in a second. Now, we don't have that great 1969 technology that we used to have. That's so hilarious. Dude, Buzz Aldrin is like an alcoholic. I'm just kidding. Dude, looking at Buzz Aldrin, that guy is, I mean, it's hard to do what he does, That's all I'm going to say. Someone said you should go on the Joe Rogan Experience. Thank you. I would love to, but I'm sure I'll never get invited on. It's okay. Yeah, no, yeah. Dude, there's so many funny things with the moon landing. Like that's not just like a random guy. I believe he's the oldest like engineer or whatever for NASA. And then they gave Denmark a moon rock and they did a study on it. It was petrified wood. I don't even want to get into this, but the more space research I do, I'm telling you, a lot of the keys to this world, in my opinion, are probably in Antarctica. That's why you're not allowed to go there. So, one way or another, Antarctica would really solve a lot of things, but maybe you can go there. I don't know. Maybe try to go to Antarctica or don't. Actually, I feel like now I'm going to be liable. They're like, crazy anomaly fan went to Antarctica and, cold weather, died of cold weather. It's like, no, don't go to Antarctica. Never mind. Someone said the moon is plasma. Probably, yeah, that's kind of my feeling. It's probably just like some sort of plasma or some sort of like light source, but I don't know. Who am I? Someone said Joe Rogan is controlled opposition. Listen, I don't care who's who or who thinks what. If he'll talk to me and let me say what I want to say, I don't care who he is or not, but I would definitely do the Joe Rogan podcast. I don't care what people say. He has a huge platform. It's not like I'm going to go to Joe Rogan and he's going to be like, Anomaly, you can only come on my podcast if you say what I want you to say. And I'd be like, yes, Joe, I will not. That's not going to happen. I'll go if I could say what I want to say. Why would I not want to speak to his audience? Yeah, no. Someone said David Icke is onto something. For sure. No, David, I haven't listened to David Icke in a while, but he threw everybody off by talking about reptilians, and everybody was like, dude, this guy's crazy. But if you could take out the reptile stuff, I mean, or you leave it in, depending what you're into. I don't know what you're into. But David Icke, man, he's onto a lot of stuff, man. And he's like one of those figures who he's been early on a lot of stuff, he's been like 15 years ahead. So if you can get over the reptilian stuff he talks about, David Icke has a lot of insight for sure. Someone said David is garbage. I don't really agree with anyone. That's why I do my own thing. So like people are like, he's controlled opposition. He's garbage. Alex Jones garbage. David's garbage. I mean, I have my preferences, but I don't, if I like someone, that's why I don't disavow. I don't agree with anybody on everything. So like, why would I disavow? Like, I'm not going to disavow David, but David Icke said this, do you disavow? I'm not responsible for everything the guy ever said. I just said, I find him interesting and he's got good insight, but it's like, I'm not a disavow person. Someone said Dave Rubin. Yeah, I would love to be on Dave Rubin, but I'll tell you what, if I haven't been on at this point, I don't think they want me on, especially now. I'm sure that whole like clique of people, they're all labeling me like far right extremist because I believe in free speech. So now that they're like, I know people who work like for these people and they're telling me that they're labeling me Anomaly. They're labeling me alt-right. They think I'm alt-right because Nick Fuentes retweets my Twitter. And I've never met Nick and I've never talked to him. He retweets me because I'm not lying and he likes it. So like, that's my fault. Now I'm guilty by association. Like if I'm I got millions of streams, hundreds of millions of views. I'm responsible for everybody that likes what I'm saying. Well, I'm sorry that people actually like me. Like that's my fault. Fuck these people. No offense. I mean, I've seen Dave Rubin live. I I like the guy. He seems like a nice guy, but it's like, I'm not saying him specifically. I have no idea if he even knows who I am, but a lot of these other people are labeling me alt-right, and I don't like it. Are you sick of this sick word yet? What, the F word? I'm sorry. I'm not alt-right. I've never been alt-right. I'm not even an identitarian. I never talk about identity politics. I only talk against it. But the reason they hate me is because I'm fair about it. If Charlie Kirk and all these people are allowed to go around and march around and do black identity politics and Hispanic identity politics, then it doesn't bother me that people do white identity politics. I don't care. You know, like I'm not a police officer. I'm not a politician. Like, oh, I disavow. Oh, everyone else can do it, but you can't do it. Oh, look at me. I'm so not racist. Like, it's so fucking stupid. That's what all them do. They're like, oh, I condemn those people, but I'll do it all day. It's like, I think you're all stupid. So it's like, I'm not even an identitarian, but they hate me because Nick Fuentes and his little people like me, and people like Owen Benjamin like me, because I'm not a liar. And a lot of these people just don't like liars. So it's like, that's my fault that people like me. You know, like, maybe they would like you too if you didn't lie so much. I don't know. Maybe that's a better strategy than calling me alt-right. Maybe you should stop lying. I don't know. Just a thought. So they're trying to make me like guilty. Everything's my fault because people know. It's like, I don't care about identity politics, but Nick and his people do. And it doesn't bother me because everyone else does it. So if everyone else can do it, why can't they? You know, they're like, and then they throw terms like, why do they not have a word? They don't have a word because language has been rigged against us. Speech has been rigged against us, and political correctness has been rigged against us. And now even right wingers play political correctness because they don't want to look too racist to the left, but the left doesn't like you anyway. So who are you impressing? You're not impressing me. You're not impressing a lot of, younger conservative kids. You're like, we don't like political correctness. I get, the optics of it, but your optics aren't even that good. Imagine selling out the truth for optics, and your optics are still worse than mine. My optics are still great. People think I'm calm and reasonable, and you're doing it all for the optics, and your optics are, people are like sleeping when they watch you talk because it's so boring. So if you're going to sell out the truth for the optics, at least you could have good optics. But I suggest value truth over optics, but, try to get your approach right, I guess. It's like, you don't want to look like a fool. No, I was listening to, I was at a friend's house and I was listening to, I think her name is like Eliza Shizingzer. I don't know. She's a woman, Shizingzer. I don't know. She's a woman comic. And the whole thing was about how she can't stand feminists, even though she's a feminist. They hate themselves. Absolutely. I mean, they're miserable because their whole world is being offended. And now it's coming to the right. They're like, Anomaly, you got to disavow Nick, right? I'm like, no. I disavow you for annoying me. Like, stop doing it. Oh, but she's a Jewish woman and she dated somebody. I don't care. I respect Jewish people so much. I'll let them date someone that you think is racist. I'm not. Who am I to tell this Jewish woman who to date her? Are you going to call this Jewish woman a Nazi with us? No. Why would I call her a Jewish woman a Nazi? Like, this is what these people are doing. Like, Anomaly, aren't you no. I literally don't care about any of this stuff. I think it's all dumb. It reminds me of like elementary school. Like, are you going to disavow Judy Bloomberg for? I don't care. Just don't take my crayons and don't take my money. Did you ever finish reading the Bible? I have not. Someone said, with moral relativism, there's no truth anymore. Anomaly can walk and chew gum at the same time. Hopefully. For people who saw my Gavin thing, was it that bad? I was reading a lot of comments. They were like, Anomaly, you look so mad. For those who don't know, Gavin made fun of me. He was just like, who's this guy? Like, I was on some blacklist. I don't know. They're like, look, the alt-right list. And like, my face is on there. I'm like, great. But he's like, or maybe it's a good list. I don't even know. But they were like, who's this guy? And he's like, he was just roasting me. So then I thought it would be funny to roast him back. And I was a little harsh. And people were like, you seem so mad. I thought it was funny. I said he looked like a barista, and he looked like a creepy magician at a Chuck E. Cheese. I looked mad. I'm reading. Now the guy, people were like, Anomaly, you look mad, but I laughed. I thought it was funny, but maybe my approach wasn't good. Let's see. I think Gavin will enjoy it. I was supposed to do a roast. I think they canceled it. I was supposed to roast Will Witt at this Flecka's event. They wanted me to roast Will Witt. Oh my God. I had the funniest stuff written. So I think with the Gavin thing, once I saw Gavin make fun of me, I thought I kind of got in roast mode. I was like, all right, I wrote those jokes in 10 minutes. I'm pretty funny. So I was supposed to roast Will Witt, and I had all these jokes written, and then they canceled the event. So I feel like when Gavin made fun of me, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get back in roast mode. Yeah, it's funny, right? I said he looked like the fat annoying kid in high school who like lost a lot of weight when he was 35 and got a beard and then thought he was like really hot. Like I thought it was funny, right? No? Do the Will Witt jokes? Oh my god. I wish that event would have happened. I would have been so blacklisted from like PragerU if I'm not already. I actually really like Will Witt. I don't mind Dennis Prager too. It's just like I want him to stop calling everything anti-Semitic and acting like he doesn't like. He's like, I don't love Israel. I'm like, dude, you love Israel. It's fine. It's totally okay. But then he's like, it's anti-Semitic to suggest I have dual loyalty. You do, and that's fine. So do a lot of people. I'm not even mad at it. It's just like, don't say it's hate speech to say that. Now, I'm against hate speech, but you're hate speech. These people are exhausting. But yeah, I love Will Witt. He's a good guy. But I had some pretty harsh jokes. I'm not gonna lie. It would have been really funny. Like the second I dropped that, I was already just bracing to be like blacklisted forever from like every conservative event because I had some pretty funny jokes. They're on my phone. I don't have them. But do you think any Democrats will be charged by AG Barr? Um, I hope so. I hope so. I can't predict the future, but someone said, "What do you think about Jordan Peterson?" See, this is the thing. It got me in trouble yesterday, so I deleted it. I took my words, but I always liked Jordan Peterson's philosophy. I always liked his mindset. I like that Jordan Peterson's inspiring, but a red flag, even before he went to rehab, was his take on pharmacy pills, in my opinion, is no bueno. He was like basically advocating for taking pharmacy pills, and it just seemed to me like he was too pharmacy pill happy even before he ended up in rehab. Like his advice to people, I was like, that's not good advice. And then he ends up in rehab on pills. And then if you say something about it, they act like you're hateful. But well, and then he's like crying. He's like crying on television. Here's my thing. I hope I'm not trying to pick on somebody when he's down. I think Jordan, is having trouble in his life. But if you're a self-help guru and you can't even help yourself and you end up in rehab and you're telling people to take pills, that's not for me. So I say something about people like, dude, he's just going through a hard time. I'm like, yeah, but his whole job is to help other people. And he ended up in rehab on the same things that he tells other people to take. So, to me, that's a major red flag. And I think it's bad advice. And it's clearly bad advice. It doesn't even work for him. So I'm not trying to be mean to the guy or kick him while he's down. But if my job, like I do news analysis, I do comedy, but also, I try to help people as well. His main job is a psychologist. He's like, it's like if Gary Vee ends up like broke on heroin, it's like, it's this whole thing to be like happy and successful. So if he's not successful and happy, then it's like, it's not good. It's like if you're a NASCAR driver and you smash your car, like you should be like, dude, are you good to drive? That's what I think, but I know you're not supposed to say that. I don't know. Someone said people can make mistake and change. I hope Jordan's the best. I'm not knocking it, but a lot of people look up to him and he tells a lot of people to take pharmacy pills, and he took pills and ended up in rehab. And I think, I don't know. To me, I know some people have had success stories on pills. I'm not a doctor, but to me, there's a lot of people dying from opioids. There's a lot of addiction in this country. And also, I think some of these depression pills are mind-altering pills. I think they change your mind and you could never change back. I've heard stories where people are like permanently screwed up from these pills. So my thought is if you're going to talk about pills in any sort of positive way, that's fine, but you should do warnings just like the commercials do. When you watch the commercial, like this could be a seizure, this, that, this, they give you like 50 things that it could do to you. So if you're Jordan Peterson and you have a massive influence and you tell people to take pills and you don't mention any of the bad side effects, and then you end up in rehab on pills, I'm supposed to just be like, oh man, no good. No. Someone said you could be a comedian. I thought so, but then I make a joke about Gavin and people are like, oh my God, Anomaly, you look mad. I'm a little annoyed. I'm not going to lie. I've stood up for Gavin in the past and he just makes fun of my hair 3 times. And he looks like Joseph Stalin, who smoked salvia in Silver Lake. So is that my fault for noticing the dude has a handlebar mustache and low key looks a little bit, that's not my fault for noticing patterns. It's like, I'm not going to tell Gavin that his handlebar mustache looks creepy, but he says I shouldn't have long hair. And it's like, bro, just fill my almond milk cup, and no one asked for your opinion. I asked for an almond milk latte, hot, to go. I didn't ask for a side opinion. So, he's like, anomaly. That guy needs to cut his hair. I don't. First of all, my picture with the hair, I had my hair tied back, so you could barely even see it's long. I don't know how you even knew that. But then he's like, you should never have long hair as a guy. It's like, bro, oat milk latte to go. What's with all the backlash? It's just like fill up, do the espresso thing, make the oat milk hot. You pour the oat milk in, you make a nice little, leaf pattern, and then you give it to me. You say, "Have a good day, sir," and I walk out. I don't understand what all these opinions are about. It's like, I don't take opinions about hair from people with handlebar mustaches. That's just not something I do. And if I could meet somebody very great with a handlebar mustache, I'll change my opinion. Until then, oat milk, cappuccino, pour them together, make sure it's hot, give me a to-go cup, put the ring around it so it doesn't burn my hand, and have a nice day, sir. Someone said this hairdresser loves your hair. Thank you, Jessica. Of course, it's a beautiful woman, but yeah, let me just ignore beautiful women on my chat, and I'll listen to what a guy with a handlebar mustache that looks like a used car salesman. Daddy's doing the best he can out here. It's like, just sell the car and go home to your kids. Why? Who asked you about fashion? Because Blaze TV said you were like a renegade in Williamsburg, you believed him? This is why we lose the culture war, folks. Oat milk, espresso, pour them together, make sure they're hot, and leave me alone. Pull the rat. Yeah, I mean, dude, why is he telling me about fashion? You see his tie? I'm not even that. I go to the cheapest suit place ever, and my suit looks better than that. I mean, the dude, it looked like cheap birthday present wrap. It looked like a cheap birthday present. I'm like, dude, and his little freaking thing on here, it looked like a napkin. It's like, bro, it's supposed to look nice. Your suit is not supposed to look like a shitty birthday present that your little kid opens up and just send it back to Toys R Us. That's not what I wanted. You're supposed to look good. You're not supposed to put a napkin in the pocket square. It's supposed to stand out and make your suit bounce, I mean, the dude puts a napkin in his pocket, has a little like Chuck E. Cheese, tie on, and thinks he's Versace or something. Charlie said, Gavin always gets my latte wrong. That's what I'm saying. It's like he had one job and he always screws it up. He works at Starbucks and he goes there with a Chuck E. Cheese tie on and he puts a napkin. He puts a napkin in his pocket and he thinks he's like Roger Stone or something. It's like, dude, first of all, you're supposed to wear your Starbucks outfit. Second of all, you're not getting paid more just because you're in a suit. Just make the latte right. I'd rather you look terrible and just make the latte correctly rather than, dress like Roger Stone and just screw up the freaking latte every time. Someone said, Adam said, do you like my mustache? He had a huge mustache. Yeah, absolutely. Adam, I love your mustache. I'm sure there's some great handlebar mustaches in my following too, but it's just like not his. It's so frustrating. It's like just pour. It's a simple job, and people like Gavin at Starbucks constantly getting my lattes wrong. It really shows you, the problem in this country. Because before we had the degradation of our society, used to have good employees that just smiled at you. McDonald's did it right, but now our whole society is going downhill. You have degenerates like Gavin just screwing up every order, and it's like I can't even get a cup of coffee anymore in this country. It's disgusting. Someone said you looked on fleek that night. Listen, I was trying to dress to impress for Fox News, and someone told me I had my suit wrong. I still look better than him. I didn't put a napkin in my pocket. It's like, bro, you got something on your handlebar mustache. Like, well, good thing I got a napkin here where my pocket square should be. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Listen, it's not even. I'll rock any hair and look better than that handlebar. I'm just playing. Someone said it's beyond hilarious that you're doing a live stream about a super fast comment he made about you. Listen, he joked about me. I joked about him. I think this was funnier than the video I just made then. Maybe I'll just to piss people off. Maybe I'll cut this out of my live stream and just re-upload that. I'll do it twice. Gavin part 2. Just get the milk right. You too. You sound like a angry barista. You probably have a handlebar mustache too. It's just like put the oat milk in the cappuccino. Make sure it's hot. Lid, sleeve, so I don't file a lawsuit. To go, write my name on it, and just have a good day. It's so simple. You can milk an oat. It just takes a long time. Someone said road trip to Nashville. I'll be in Nashville soon. Hopefully I like it. Maybe I'll move there. What are your thoughts on impeachment? I think I don't want to say what I think, because then they're going to call me anti-Semitic. No, I'm just kidding. But literally, they're calling Rudy Giuliani anti-Semitic now. And like Donald Trump, they're like, how dare him question our people? It's like, I think it's a sham. I think they're lying because they themselves have a lot to cover. It's like, it's smart psychology for them since they're so sneaky. Like with Russia, they're the ones who did all the stuff. So, and they don't want Trump to get along with Russia. So what they do is create the narrative. And then if Trump does anything, like if he moves an inch, then they say he's colluding. So Trump probably would have done stuff with Putin. Trump probably would have done stuff with Ukraine. But once they make the narrative, Trump can't move. They're like trapping him in a box. And our Congress doesn't move and they don't do anything, which is why they all need to be fired. Someone said they called Trump anti-Semitic. Yeah. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called him anti-Semitic because Adam Schiff is Jewish. So that's why you got to be real careful with what you say. Because like most people don't even care or know that Adam Schiff is Jewish. But once you give up that word, it's going to be used against you. Someone said enough with the hair and the lattes. Dan, I wanted him to make. I'm just playing. It's 100% a cover up. Yeah, for sure. No, but people are saying it's Soros back now. Yeah, but now you get what I'm saying? A lot of these people are Jewish. So now that you say that, they're going to accuse you of anti-Semitism. And you're going to be like, no, I love Israel. I'm Jewish. I can't be anti-Semitic. They don't care. They never cared. They just pretend like they care. They use your ethnicity. And then they turn on you as soon as you disagree with them. I know you want to talk about Soros now, but they're going to call you names and deplatform you. If Trump gets impeached, he better not get impeached. Do you think there will be an uprising? I don't know. He better not get impeached. What they did to Netanyahu is crazy too. I don't know if you guys saw. Netanyahu got indicted, not for any of the wars going on, not for anything of like in Israel that actually mattered. They're indicting Netanyahu because he passed some sort of legislation that helped a media company and hurt a different media company. That's literally everything the Democrats do all the time. Everything they do is like media driven, legislation driven. So they successfully indicted Netanyahu. And Netanyahu's son is kind of based. I don't know if that's the right word for him, but his son tweeted the other day. He was like, why are all these New World Order people pedophiles or something? And then his son deleted the tweet. I was like, yikes. There's something going on in Israel too. I don't know what, but I think Netanyahu's son he's gone pretty hard. Netanyahu's son got called anti-Semitic because he posted this hilarious meme. It had a reptile like puppeting like George Soros, who like puppeted like politicians. It was literally like a puppet meme that had George Soros in it, and it showed him being puppeted by a reptile. And he shared it on Facebook, Netanyahu's son, and they called him anti-Semitic. I was like, yo, he's not anti-Semitic. He's the leader of Israel's son. But he knows what time it is. I'm just gonna say, Yair Netanyahu, kind of hard. He kind of goes hard in the paint sometimes. It was such a funny meme too. It was like this reptile just like giving like it had like a fishing hook or something. Oh my goodness. And they were like, this is anti-Semitism. Shut it down. He can't be anti-Semitic. He's the leader of Israel's son. People think I'm crazy for saying this stuff now. Guys, there's a girl that's Jewish named Ashley Goldenberg, and you had a non-Jew conservative calling her a Nazi. It's a little past the point of like, and then they're like, anomaly, do you want to condemn? No. I want these people to just stop being annoying. She's like a normal, nice Jewish chick who's not stupid. And they're like, why won't you be dumb? And she's like, I don't care about this stuff. Like, they're like, well, we care more than you care about Israel. And she's like, you're not even Jewish. Leave me alone. They're so annoying. Let me see. Do you want to disavow? It doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? I don't want to disavow Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I want to debate her and prove that she's wrong. I don't want to, like, what is the disavowal thing is such a snowflake political correct. Oh, I disavow. Just like that, Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire disavowed Nick Fuentes, and all anti-Semitism disappeared from the world. Everyone stopped fighting. Israel and Palestine held hands and listened to Ricky Martin in the streets. No one cares, bro. Like, you have to disavow with me. Dude, you're not stopping anti-Semitism by disavowing. Like, no one cares. No, you think like people who hate Jews are going to listen to you and be like, man, well, Matt Walsh disavowed. I mean, I might as well pack my bags and leave now. Like, that's not a real strategy to stop hate and evil. So I don't know who. Do you disavow anti-Semitism? I just told you, I'm not. What does that mean? I disavow people who lie about anti-Semitism and say it means everything. To me, that's very damaging to free speech. So that word means nothing to me anymore because it's in legislation form, and it doesn't simply mean hating Jewish people to the extent you want to kill everyone, which is awful. I would disavow that. Anti-Semitism doesn't mean that. Anti-Semitism means telling the truth about people who have dual loyalty, or talking about Israel more than you talk about another country, and now the government can legislate it. That's not, I'm not going to disavow that because that makes no sense to me. If everyone would stop lying about it, then I could disavow it, but that word is basically useless. So I'm not disavowing it. Peace out to whoever's leaving. Do disvowels? Yeah, I disvowels. They're awful. I love consonants and the Y. Y is good because it's it could be a consonant. It could be a vowel sometimes. So thank you, Lloyd Tucker Carlson. God bless. Are you bald neck down? I'm not answering them. Dude, and comedy is hilarious. Here's the thing about like, listen, I don't agree. Nick Fuentes' stances are not my stances. I don't agree with everything he says. We have very different politics. I'm not a blind follower of him. I don't even follow him. And I just think he's funnier than all the people who hate him. I watched all the smear things they said of him. Half of them were hilarious. Some of them were messed up, but like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, certain ones were funny. And like, these people who hate him have never said a funny thing a day in their life. Me, I'm hilarious. So I'm not like threatened by his jokes or humor or anything. Like, they're not funny and they're not interesting. So it's like, you could kick Nick Fuentes off Twitter. You could disavow everything he says. It's not going to make you funny or entertaining. So what you should do is disavow yourself and go, watch a comedy special, try to learn something, and, come back and be more interesting. It's like the people who hate him the most are just so boring. Same with like Alex Jones. Everybody who hates him, it's because he's hilarious. Alex is really funny. Like, sometimes he's a little annoying, but most of the time Alex is hilarious. So it's like, why? I don't care. Disavow what he said. Why? He showed up in like a tank to like, I don't even know what he's doing anymore. It's funny. Someone said Owen rags on Nick nonstop and Owen is funny. Yeah, I wish they got along more, but at the same time, Owen is hilarious. Like, I even people who disagree with what he says, maybe you should be funnier. I don't know what to tell you. Like it's funny. Some things he says are hilarious. People you could disagree with certain things, but at the end of the day, you yourself have to be funny. Like people want comedy, so I don't go. I don't know. Like the people the most mad, they're not funny and they're not like interesting. So it's like there's a war in this world against people who are interesting. They're like, well, you're like, why not hire someone who's really funny? Like, they're putting kids to sleep on college campuses and then they're at war with everyone else. Just get someone funnier, get someone interesting, get someone who doesn't lie, and then maybe people won't boo you. They could have booked me. I'm not going to hate on people. I'm not going to agree with everything the Groyper said, but the Groypers would love me because I'm not a liar. They're tired of these liars. So it's like, just book someone entertaining. Like, I'm just listening to them speak sleeping. It's like, stop being so boring. Someone said Gavin would be funny. I haven't seen Gavin. I don't watch Gavin enough, but like Gavin's kind of, I thought what he said about me wasn't that funny, but I'm also biased. I've seen him and he said funny things. Like, someone said this impeachment is bullshit. Yeah, obviously. Someone said Roseanne is funny. Yeah, Roseanne's hilarious. Roseanne is one of the funniest women ever in comedy. And that's why they took her show away because she doesn't care. She's not like politically correct all the time. What he said. Yeah, no, I get it. I'll like we'll get into that. Let's see what someone said George Carlin had it. Yeah, see, George Carlin was funny and he was honest. These campus conservatives, I'm not trying to be mean, but they're like they're like trying to have a full-fledged war with like funny people, and it's just like they're not funny. And that in itself is kind of funny, but they're like they hate free speech. They can't answer simple questions about demographics in Israel and like literal stuff that's not that hard. You don't have to agree with the Groypers. You could be pro-Israel and not lie. I have friends that like Israel that don't lie as much as these kids. They're so boring, and then they're so mad at all. They're like trying to label me. It's like, you're not, just get someone funny. Stop hiring horrible people who just talk about black unemployment. First of all, no one care. Like, you're not tapping into to college culture by talking about black unemployment. Nobody that's black or non-black they're not like, oh, black unemployment. Oh man, I really like Turning Point now. You guys are boring. Get somebody interesting. But you don't have to. And I wouldn't mind if they didn't do it, but I started minding when they started like doing an all-out assault on like hilarious people. Someone said Candace is good. Candace is, love her or hate her, she was the most interesting thing they ever had. She put them on the map because she was different and new, and a black woman who had energy and was saying things that nobody said in a long time on a big platform. So Candace, whatever you want to think about her, she was the best thing they ever had. She was extremely interesting. They got rid of her. They started getting booed at college campuses, and then they started turning on the First Amendment and acting like it's everyone else's fault. It's like, dude, I want to see a Nick and Charlie Kirk debate so bad. It would be so funny. Disavow him. No, you debate him. Why am I supposed to? Why don't you debate him? I'm not disavowing. Someone said, "What's a coomer?" I think a coomer was like they were doing it's like an anti-porn, anti-masturbation like thing. I don't know exactly. Like a coomer is someone who, I guess, masturbates a lot or so. I don't know. Watch the Paul Joseph Watson video. He explains it. I saw that. There's so much stuff I don't understand. But what do you think about the Patriot Act extended? Oh yeah. Probably not good. I heard about that. Someone should report on that. But yeah. They always do sneaky stuff like that. Impeachment, Patriot Act. No. Someone said, anomaly, I would pay top dollar to trip on Cyclobin with you and two other people. Would you pick the other two? Who would you pick for the other two? I'm not answering that. That's funny. What is psilocybin? What is that? Mushrooms? I don't. Yeah, I don't. No, that's not happening. But that's a hilarious comment. Uh, yeah, I thought so. Someone said I like Tucker and Candace. Good night, Jessica. Yeah, I'll go to bed in like 10 minutes. Listen, a lot of people love Candace. Some people don't. Like I said, regardless of what you think of her, I think we all should agree that she was definitely the most interesting, high energy person at Turning Point. And I'm not knocking it, but it's like, dude, they started like they were answering questions so bad. Dan Crenshaw is just like, the First Amendment, it's just a cloak for anti-Semitism. It's like, bro, the First Amendment's not a cloak. The First Amendment's the First Amendment. The Second Amendment's just a cloak for domestic terrorism, so we need to take that cloak away so we could show who you really are. Let's not say we did, bro. Someone said the Hodge twins are funny. Yeah, they are. They are pretty funny. Trevor's, what's his name? No, I'm sorry. Terrence Williams is funny. There's funny people out there. I'm just saying they don't book them, and then they put kids to sleep on college campuses, and then they get mad at everyone else. So said anomaly created Turning Point. No, I didn't create Turning Point. Someone said visiting LA for the first time ever in January anomaly. What should I do when I'm there? Good question. I would say try to go for a hike, see the views, check out the ocean if you can. Stay away from certain parts of downtown Los Angeles. Some of it's nice, but some of it's terrible. Someone said, I hate all this new thing on calling everyone racist. It's really annoying. Like and I think that to analyze properly what a lot of these people are missing is like the new right wing that's like further right than like Charlie Kirk and stuff. What they're doing is what everyone else is doing. I don't agree with certain things, but I don't care what other like everything's racist. Napkins are racist, this is racist, that's racist. And then people say, demographics and patterns are racist. And then even extreme opinions like if people prefer their own ethnicity, like certain that's not my thing, but it doesn't bother me. Like, would you call a black person racist that said, "Oh, I want a black wife"? You probably wouldn't, Asian, like it's like only white gets called that. It's not my thing. I'm not into it, like they'll try to label, but it doesn't bother me. Like you can't force someone to like something else. Like certain, you know, men like Latino women or something. You can't be like, no, you're not allowed to like Latino women anymore. You're only allowed to like Asian women or else you're a racist. That's not how the world works. People are allowed to have free will and prefer and agree with who they want to. So on like a philosophical level, it doesn't bother me. They try to force like intersectionality, and it's so bad. It's even come to the right wing where they're like, you must love the gay black veteran as much as I do. He's very noble. And he's like, well, I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. And you're like, it's annoying. It's like, I like Scott Presler because he cleans up trash all the time. He doesn't just run around and say, I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. It's like, cool. Great. I'm not. But like, he cleans up trash and that's awesome. I like Brandon Straka because he does a lot of things, But then it's like the turning point, they're like, it's racist what Nick said. It's like, what does the word racist even mean anymore? Is it right? Is it wrong? Do you agree with it? Do you agree? It's like he has the right to think what he wants to think. Like how am I'm supposed to disavow him and make him think what I think? The only way you can get someone to make them think what you think is by showing them the light and showing them the truth and convincing them. You can't just shut someone down and expect them to like you more. They hate you more. That increases hate. That increases racism. The people who act like they're standing up for racism the most, they make people more racist. Like, I'm not racist, so I'm able to have edgy conversations about race because I'm comfortable with myself and I know that I don't hate people, so it's not hard for me to talk about. But like people like it. I have people of all races, religions, who agree with me. Even with all the Israel talk I do, I got word from a friend that someone who donates $1 million to Israel, they're a huge Israeli donor. They like what I'm saying about all this stuff. You would think they would hate me, but they know I'm not lying. And they're like, listen, I love Israel, but even I get called anti-Semitic. They're like, how can I be anti-Semitic when I donate $1 million to Israel? And then they're like, I like that anomaly guy, because they feel marginalized too. They can't even donate to Israel without being called anti-Semitic. So you get what I'm saying? It's like these people, like the virtue signal is so strong on the left. Now the mainstream Republican stance in these campus conservative groups is to like disavow, that I think it's fine. Even when I think Ben Shapiro had Dave Rubin on one time, and he was like, Dave Rubin's like, I'd invite you to my wedding. And Ben Shapiro was like, I'm not going to your wedding, bro. Like, he was like, it's against my religion or something. And I thought that was kind of funny. Like, I'm not going to condemn Ben Shapiro. Like, how dare him be a homophobe for not liking Dave Rubin's sexuality? Who cares? Like, Ben doesn't have to go to Dave Rubin's wedding. Like, it's like I stood up for Ben Shapiro when he did that. Like, they're like, look, he hates gay people. It's like, no, he just doesn't want to go to Dave's gay wedding, you know? And there's not, to me, it doesn't bother me. Like, who am I to judge if we left everyone alone, no one would hate each other as much. People hate each other now because everyone's constantly manipulating other people's groups and ideas and thoughts. And it's so annoying, like it's all so annoying. Intersectionality and political correctness is a lie. And it's so embedded in the left wing. Now these right wing groups are like, look, I'm so not racist and you're racist because I think everyone should get along and do whatever they want and be gay, and Palestine should be gay. Wouldn't it be great if we went to Palestine and just made everyone gay there so they could have gay marriages like America and Israel? It's like, no, like, why? Who cares? Like, it's not my, you're not America first. Come on, what are you, a homophobe? You don't want to go to Palestine and make them gay? Like, no, you do. That's America first now. Like, that's like the new mainstream conservative. You come on, you don't agree with Rob? What are you, a homophobe? No, I don't care that he's gay. I just think you guys didn't answer any of the questions accurately or honestly. So it has nothing to do with the sexuality. I just think what? Like, it's like, dude, America first. We're gonna bring gay porn to Israel. I mean, to Palestine, and they're gonna stop oppressing gays, and they're just gonna be gayer. And it's like, I don't. It's not my thing. I don't have this like insatiable urge to make Palestine gayer. But if you do as a conservative, that's fine. Just don't expect everyone to agree with it. It's a little weird. So I said, do you listen to Adam Curry and the No Agenda show? I've never heard of it. Someone said weddings are a sham. I mean, it's like basically just like a signature with the government, right? I'm sure like traditional marriage probably had nothing to do with like the government marriage. Like, they probably hijacked like biblical scripture and were like, look, this is the way to get married, and just exploited everybody. So I think that's probably true. Where it's like marriage is a beautiful thing, but I'm sure the government probably took advantage of that for hundreds of years. Keep your head up, man. You mean like literally up or in general? You have some long fingers. Someone said my hands look like alien hands. I might be an alien. Someone said porn was brought to Palestine when Israel took over the TV station and broadcast porn on 2 of the 3 channels. I thought porn was liberating. Go figure. Yeah, I heard that. I haven't researched that enough to know, but I think Paul Joseph Watson meant that. See, that's where I like I don't like to condemn the far right because they bring up the porn thing, and I think that's interesting. And like no moderate conservative brings that up that much. And you don't have to agree with it, but I think the further right talks about how porn is destructive and used as a tool of manipulation. And I think that could be true. It's hard because we've been indoctrinated so much in it, but even if I'm a porn star or I'm obsessed with porn, someone saying that doesn't bother me. Like that's where they're like, even if you're gay, someone questioning your sexuality or gay marriage shouldn't bother you. If you love porn, someone questioning porn shouldn't bother you unless you're like a psycho about it, where it's like, I don't know. They like people want me to. I'm bothered by people who sell out our free speech. That's the only thing that bothers me. When I see all the major conservative groups selling free speech out and playing identity politics, but not letting others play identity politics, virtue signaling, condemning, playing political correctness, trying to make Palestine gay. It's like, whatever you got to do, bro, but like, just stop. Someone said aliens are demons posing. Okay. Are you calling me a demon now? This escalated really quickly. Someone said, yeah, E. Michael Jones is the man. I've not heard that much from E. Michael Jones, but I know he's been really rising the ranks. Or I don't know, maybe he's always been big. He writes books and stuff. I've seen one interview with him, and he definitely seems like an interesting guy. But I got to watch more of him because I heard he talks about a lot of that stuff. I think he followed me on Twitter too. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. Dr. E. Michael Jones had a great interview with Roosh V. I think that's the one I saw. And it was really good. I think they talked about Roosh used to be like a pickup artist and pick up a lot of women, and then he converted to a Christian and talks against that stuff. I think that's the one I saw. That was really good. Roosh and E. Michael Jones were very impressive in that one. Someone said Kanye's on a whole nother level. Yeah, him in the church, he was like talking about Disney indoctrinating kids or something, and like no one clapped. That was so hilarious. Let's see. Invited my sister-in-law to follow you. Thank you, Sophia. Let's see. Someone said marriage brings out the best of a man. When I was talking about marriage, I was talking about like government marriage. I'm saying they probably like hijacked the system as far as like made it more like paperwork and stuff that you sign. I'm not talking about the actual institution. Do you think it's going to take one more election to get Trudeau out? See, I don't know exactly what you guys are doing, but also here's another to explain to other people. Here's another reason why I like the far right, like the Fuentes bunch and other people. It's not even, I agree with everything they say. Some things I don't, some things I think are mean, but they talk about immigration and, actually Charlie Kirk changed his stance on immigration. He was calling them racist and alt-right, and then Charlie changed his immigration stance and said he's against giving, green cards to everybody who goes to college. Because in Canada, their legal, not just illegal immigration, but their legal immigration rate is like 3 times or it's way higher than America's. So it's not like it's not racist to talk about immigration. There's been times my family immigrated, like every family, but at certain points in America, they shut down immigration or they lowered it, and it made sense. I mean, freaking, what's his name? The one liberal president put Japanese people in internment camps. That I wouldn't say that's a good idea. It's terrible, but it's like they've done way worse things than we're doing now. Cutting down immigration is not a bad thing. So in Canada, maybe it will take another election. Maybe you'll never win. That's the conversation the far right is trying to have, is that demographics are destiny. And if you have the immigration rate that Trudeau has, he knows that, and he just keeps blasting immigration and then giving them stuff. So maybe he'll never lose, and that's what's happening here in Texas. And this is another reason, hopefully guys are listening. I'm not a mean person. I'm not a hateful person, but someone asked Charlie Kirk this question about demographics and white demographics, and Charlie Kirk wouldn't even acknowledge that the majority of white people vote Republican. Everyone knows that. MSNBC says it. CNN says it. Everyone knows that. Everyone says that. But when someone asks Charlie Kirk that, he says it's racist. You're a racist. You're a white nationalist. You're a white supremacist. And it's like, bro, what do you even talk? That's a fact. I mean, you could look at demographics of like white males. I mean, that's everyone. I mean, CNN talks about it every day. So in Canada, they have huge immigration. And here they're doing it not just because they need workers and stuff and people. A lot of the immigration, especially illegal, is done to win demographics and flip Texas, and so they'll never lose. So maybe Canada will change, but maybe they're too far gone. I hope not, but that's kind of the conversation that people are trying to do here. And then that's why I keep talking about this stuff. I don't need attention. I don't need drama, but the gatekeepers of like conservatism, like the Turning Points, the Shapiros, they like, these people, they've basically just decided that talking about demographics is a racist white supremacist talking point only. There are white supremacists, there are white nationalists, there are people of these crazy sorts that are violent and terrible, but there's also a lot of people that just like themselves and want to talk about this. So you can't just dismiss the whole talking point as like this crazy thing. And you can't really label people like I just did in that sense. It's like answer the question, and they don't do that. So a lot of these further right people want to lower immigration. Meanwhile, places like Canada, they like triple and quadruple immigration, and they do it for multiple reasons. And it's okay to have a conversation about legal or illegal immigration. If someone says anomaly, I want to cut all immigration. I'm not going to say you're a racist. Oh, that's the dumbest, lowest common denominator thing to say. It's bad enough that the left wing says it. Now you have the right wing gatekeeper little dudes. Now they say it. They won't even let us have a conversation about demographics and immigration. So it's like, this is why that establishment needs to be cracked. I don't want them to lose all their money and power. I don't need any more money and power. I'm doing okay. But they need to not take over everything because they're not real. They're not honest. And they're, at this point, either like knowingly or unknowingly, either controlled opposition or so afraid of the left that they're like willing to lie and sell their own people out for, a platform. Someone said, listen to Anomaly's old music. It's true. I have some very, very wise things in my old music. 2008, 2009. I wasn't just a libtard, guys. I was saying some deep stuff. I was actually talking about the connection of George Bush and Osama bin Laden in 2009. So that's over a decade ago. I knew about the regime change war and the sneaky little funding things they were doing. So I said, Anam, have you ever done psychedelics? I have, but I'm not advocating for them or anything, but I have. Someone said, I feel like they're controlled opposition that is unaware of how they're dividing. I don't think they're purposely doing it. It's just like, who are certain people? Like what's their agenda? What do they want? What are they willing to do? I can't speculate, but it's like once they start lying, I don't know why they're doing it. Maybe it's for money, maybe it's for power. Maybe they know they're full of shit. Maybe they believe themselves. Maybe they're afraid of losing something. Like there's a lot of things it could be. I don't know, but all I know is that needs to be challenged. And whether it's me, whether it's the Groypers, whether it's Nick Fuentes, I didn't think Donald Trump was going to be president. I wanted someone to shake up the system. Didn't expect it to be Donald Trump. At first, didn't even want it to be Donald Trump, but it was Donald Trump, and I acknowledge that. And he's crushing, in my opinion, more so than anyone I've ever seen. He's doing his best. Same with the Groypers and stuff. I didn't think that was who was going to question Charlie, but in a weird way, I didn't even know who this little group of his followers were. But I did. I told people 6-7 months ago when I started seeing all this stuff. I'm like, guys, these people are not telling the truth. And there's going to be a day where people realize, and I saw people more and more and more and more go further right because they started noticing patterns and calling them out. And you can't talk about it. You can't say it. You can't, they blacklist you. So I saw the build. I warned people 6 months ago. I was like, guys, there's going to be a day when your little conservative safe space is not safe anymore because people realize the truth, and the truth is going to win in the end. It always does. So they're like, no, no, no. I want to get booked by Turning Point. It's okay. I'll ignore it. I want the money. I want the power. And I'm like, and now the tides are turning. And of course they're going to try to smear me. Of course they're going to try to label me. But it's fine. I'll take the heat. Anomaly, do you like to mess with the stock market? Do you like to mess with the stock market? Do you do math? Do you like math? Um, Math is interesting. I was never good at it in school, but I mean, I do math when I do my taxes. So that's fun. Not really fun, but I do actually have kind of fun with it. I feel like I'm in school again doing my tax math. Stock market, I haven't gotten into, but I've been broke my whole life, so money is not really my thing. So this is the first year that I've actually kind of crushed it. So, and I'm not talking like super big, but I mean bigger than making $10 or $20 an hour. Like working like part time or something. So I need to like learn about real estate. I need to learn about the stock market. Need to invest my money. But I did pretty good this year in the sense of like I saved a lot. I saved for taxes. I'm gonna owe taxes because I don't, they take them out. So I'm not really investing right now, but maybe like next year, 2 years, I'll probably invest. Someone said get a Roth IRA. I've heard the Roth IRA is a vibe. You were so smart at such a young age, said Tracy. Thank you. I was kind of dumb. I'm still kind of dumb, but no, I'm wise in certain ways, but life is a paradox. A lot of times when you're super wise in other ways, you could be super foolish in other ways. It's always a balance. Like some of the smartest people are dumb in other things. So I definitely have my flaws and weaknesses, and I learned a lot about myself growing up. Like when you're 19, but I always had like a sense, and I'm not trying to act like I'm that special, but certain times I felt like the messenger. Like I didn't in many ways, I didn't think to write the things I did. Like sometimes I just start writing, and some of the things I said were like prophetic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, but I'm listen to my old music. You'll see where I'm like, I just like, I was like, I got to say this stuff. I don't even know how I knew it, but certain things I just was like, I never wanted to rap for like money or cars. Like everyone else raps for women. Like I always was saying something like a message. It was never like, oh, I mean, I had some pretty retarded raps, but it was never just like, I got cars, I got clothes, la, la, la. Someone said the smartest dumb person I know. I mean, you know, it's like an attribute thing. You can't have everything. So it's like if you're smart in some ways, you get there's certain things that everyone has weaknesses and flaws. Someone said The Matrix is such a good movie. The Matrix is an amazing movie. I rewatched it again. I was blown away by just like how prophetic that movie is. The Matrix. It's beautiful. What is one of your weaknesses? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into too much right now, but I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I don't want to do a deep psychological dive on myself, but in some ways I feel like I could be a lot more productive. But then in other ways, people are like, do you ever sleep? Do you ever stop? So it's like, I don't know. I can't tell if I'm lazy or productive. Are pretty girls your weakness? Yeah, I think that's a weakness too. It's like, women could be a weakness, but there's different like levels to it. Like I'm not running around going on dates all the time and stuff. So it's like, I try to pick and choose my situations, and I'm very honest with myself. So every step that I go, I'm like, is this a good idea? Is it not? I'm always trying to get better every year. So I think, hopefully I'll be diesel by the time I'm 35 or 40. I'll just be crushing it. We'll see though. Someone said, what say you? Fake news carried the entire narrative after 9/11. 9/11, here's the thing that no one says because everyone makes up all these theories and stuff. Even if you listen to the 9/11 theory, it makes no sense anyway. So that's what I always stick to because I can't prove who did it or what happened. Clearly, it doesn't make sense at all. But I stick to this. The news said it was Saudi Arabian hijackers. Most of the hijackers came from Saudi Arabia. Al Qaeda Al Qaeda was in the Middle East, but we went to countries where Al Qaeda wasn't even really there. And then we, ended up in Libya. We ended up in all these places that have nothing to do with Al Qaeda. And most of the hijackers came from Saudi Arabia. And we're allies with Saudi Arabia. We give them weapons, we give them money, and we work with them to fund Wahhabism in the Middle East. So even at face value, 9/11 makes zero sense. So I just stick to that because I can't tell you who was involved, what rich people, what countries. I could speculate, but I don't have any bombshell proof, you know? Someone said, Anomaly, you are ruining all men. They all suck. Trust me, I suck too. It's just an illusion. No, it's like women. I don't know. I'm like pickier now, but it's tough. I think one of the toughest things for me is like in person. Like with women, I'm fine, but with like technology, it becomes very weird, you know, because like if you're just talking to a woman, it's natural, you know, but like we live in the era of Facebook. I'm streaming on my computer now. This is very strange. You know, Instagram, you have like dating apps, you have like it's so I'm like very straightforward and very blunt. So it's like a pro and a con. Like I just don't care about a lot of stuff. So like it comes off the wrong way, you know, sometimes like online. But it's like there's even on Twitter that happens where it's like I tweet something. I'd rather just say it because if I say it, I can explain myself. In a tweet, it could be rubbed the wrong way or you can make a mistake. So, you know, it's like trying to be with someone or find someone in an era of like just like digital. It's so weird to me, but you know, doing my best. Someone said, I love the Baby Shark song. It's pretty funny. All right, I gotta go to bed, guys. This was a super long stream. All right. God bless you guys. God bless America. God bless your family and God bless the world. I'm going to be back. And I think for people watching on YouTube, I think they added some sort of like YouTube subscription thing or something. I don't even know what they're doing. I'll look into it, but they'll probably kick me off YouTube at some point. They kicked off Sam Tripoli, who is the Tinfoil Hat podcast or whatever. I didn't even really watch that, but apparently they deleted his whole channel today. They're deleting conspiracies, and you know they're so annoying. So we'll see. Hopefully Facebook doesn't kick me off. No offense, YouTube, but if they deleted my YouTube, I wouldn't even care. But my Facebook is where I do the best, and I have the most people and influence and you know monetization. So if they delete my Facebook, that would be very unfortunate, and I would be broke and sad, and I would end up like Laura Loomer. I would just start going to Facebook headquarters and put like handcuffing myself to the doors. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But someone said, what about supporters? Anything coming up? Good question, Greg. Before I leave, let me know. Last time I posted like, when do you guys want me to go live? And it didn't get a big response, so I didn't really do it. But I can do a live stream if you want for the supporters on Facebook. I'll do a video tomorrow. I could pick a day next week and we could do a supporters only live stream. Last time I posted about it, it didn't get a good response, but I'll do it maybe in video form. Last time I did it in picture form. But I've been a little thrown off, not to make excuses, but I left LA for a little bit because the air was bad. Going back soon. And I just kind of, I've been in them, like I'm trying to move kind of. So I've been just not doing that much supporter stuff and just like trying to move my whole life after being there for 8 years. It's a lot, but I don't want to make excuses, but it's definitely not like I've been just chilling and able to like really just do work. I've been all over the place. All right. See you guys. Someone said I was having Facebook issues. Yeah, there's always some sort of issues, but hopefully I see there's supporters on there for Facebook. I'll do a video tomorrow where I'll ask people what the best day is. And then next week we could do a supporters only live stream because I appreciate you guys on Facebook. All right. I'm turning off Facebook. Have a good night, guys. Let's see. And then I'm turning off YouTube. Have a good night, guys. What's going on, y'all? Post.